I think he kind of comes to the left-hand side of the ball and tries to slant it across Lythy here. We're not directly behind, but that's what it looks like he's doing, and he's hit a really good length. He hasn't given him anything to drive or to cut, so yeah, great start by the young lad.
I remember him bowling particularly well at Scarborough in that massive Worcestershire win last August. Here he is again. Bends his back once more. Adam Lyth drives through extra cover. He's going to pick up a run. He went straight to the man. That was well, not sure if it bounced awkward on the wicket ends, but either way, not the greatest piece of fielding. So Yorkshire off the mark. Adam Lyth off the mark with 2. It's the end of the opening over. And that news, great news. Kesh Maharaj, who of course had a short spell recently playing red ball cricket. He has re-signed for the club until the end of the Somerset away game at Taunton, so that is for the next couple of county championship fixtures, and in addition will be available during that spell for any of the T20 games that Yorkshire will play. So that's great news, Jamie.
Fantastic news. A marquee signing again for Yorkshire, you could say, and I think the added bonus there is the fact that he's available for the T20. With the news of Rashid and the shoulder injury, we don't know too much about that. He was hopeful that he might make this game, but was pulled out today after a training session yesterday. So yeah, a quality spinner, international class. Fish, I'm sure you've seen his qualities already this season.
Yeah, no, he's been great. Obviously in Championship he's come into his own, but yeah, with the news of Rash not maybe being fit, then it's good to have another spinner that can kind of spin it away from, spin it another way. So we've got Bessie that'll spin it into batters, into right-handers. He'll spin it away to right-handers. So it's good to have that bit of extra spin option there. So yeah, it's
not to mention his runs.
Yeah, no, yeah, he can whack them at the end like he did in the Championship. So yeah, no, it's great to always have international players in your team.
So good news for Yorkshire there. First ball of this Wayne Parnell over from the pavilion end was a dot, as was the second. Tom Kohler-Cadmore on strike, drops that into the leg side. No run, Worcestershire, just to give you that little bit of a picture. Well, to be honest with you, they might as well all be playing out there in white, because both teams look pretty much the same in terms of their kit. What is the point? What's the point?
I was going to say, Fish, if you'd had any inkling as to whether or not there was an away kit on the reckoning.
Yeah, I wish there was
for
actually.
Yorkshire.
So Wayne Parnell, right arm round the wicket, and Tom Kohler-Cadmore gets under this. Good piece of fielding at point, as Fish is saying. They've got through for a single. So TKC off the mark, 3 without loss.
When you said they might as well be wearing white out there, Dodgy, I thought you were referring to the run rate at the moment, which is particularly slow currently, standing at 2 after 1.3 overs bowled in this T20. It's a measured start from the 2 openers.
Yeah.
Fish, is that on purpose? Are they wanting to try and build something? It was a critique off the back of the Lancs defeat last week. No,
well, Lythy's role is to usually go hard straight out the blocks, and Tom's to take 10 balls before he gets in. That's their role as a partnership, and obviously I think Pennington bowled just a nice over there to Lythy, and yeah, they're allowed to do that. So I don't know, they might just be assessing the wicket here and seeing what a good score is.
So here is Parnell switching to over the wicket to bowl to Adam Lyth. Can give you that full Worcestershire lineup, by the way, now. So it's Ricky Vessels, Martin Guptill, fresh from the World Cup, of course, and has been scoring runs as well in this competition. Callum Ferguson captains. Wayne Parnell, the man with the ball in his hand at the moment. Ben Cox is behind the stumps. Ross Whiteley, Ed Barnard, Darryl Mitchell, George Rhodes, Dylan Pennington and Pat Brown, the Rapids 11. As I say, they're champions. They've lost just the 1 game in the competition so far this season. That was on Duckworth Lewis a couple of weeks back to Lancashire, who are top of the table, but they're still up there challenging, as you'd expect from a champion side. 1 defeat, and they've had 3 wins and have been a little bit more fortunate than Yorkshire with the weather, having had just 1 rained off. Adam Lyth has got under this one, and he's levered it backward of square leg for the first maximum. The first boundary of the game is a maximum.
Yeah, really interesting there. They brought slip out from something that I didn't really think they needed to, which, well, they probably told Lythy that he might have wanted to tighten up his line a little bit and bowl more on the stumps, and then you saw him go across. So smart batting for me, that.
Smart batting, and that was in the slot for Lythy as well. That's a shot that we're so used to seeing, and initially I thought he might have picked the man out in the deep, but it sailed over his head. It was a clean strike.
So here's
again.
Parnell again, and he's got it again. That's a delightful shot from Adam Lyth. Whipped it round over short, fine leg. It was a flat six, bounced just over the rope. That was quality.
Yeah.
That barely got off the ground. Barely got off the ground, as you say, Doji, and you can get a sense there with those two shots, back-to-back sixes from Adam Lyth, that he's fine in the middle of the bat now, isn't he?
Yeah.
You know, you mentioned there, Fish, about taking his time, playing himself in, understanding. That's the Adam Lyth that we're used to seeing in this competition.
Definitely, yeah. As I said, they just moved slip out. It looked like they felt like it maybe stopped swinging or something, and that was the kind of move that Lythy needed for him to free up a little bit.
And that'll relieve the pressure somewhat, won't it, in terms of the crowd expectations coming into this game of a T20. Maybe the pressure on Tom's shoulder, his counterpart in this opening partnership, it just alleviates the pressure somewhat. They're now 15 for nothing off 2 overs, and it starts to look like a decent platform to get into the third, fourth, and the end of this power play.
Sun shining then in LS6 as in comes Dylan Pennington once again, and this time Tom Kohler-Cadmore opens the face, and he's lofted that one over the top of point, and it just bounces now into the Western Terrace boundary boards for 4 more. They're starting to get going.
Just a bit of an insight there as well, like that puts so much pressure on this Pennington over, and it shows that with that it looked like there was width and it was a bit just short and wide, and that's what T20 is all about. It's trying to put the next bowler under pressure and the next bowler under pressure, so Adam did that really well there.
Here's Pennington once again. Kohler-Cadmore pushes back down the pitch. Bowler fields no run, and they talk about getting in and out of these overs in T20 games. That's a very important job for all concerned. It seems to be a talk across the game itself. Presumably it's the same in the dressing rooms downstairs.
Definitely, like people might think that it's all bang crash and there's not much thought process in T20. I actually think you need more of a thought process, and like you say, if you've got enough off the over as a batting team, do you need to play that risky shot to? That's what I mean about putting the bowlers under pressure for the next over, as Tom whips it to square leg for 1. But and as a bowling unit, it's trying to get that wicket so that crucial overs become less pressurised because you've got that wicket. So it's a very interesting game that the more we play, I think the more strategy will come into it.
That single to Tom Kohler-Cadmore takes him on to 6, 20 without loss, 2.5 overs in, and that brings Adam Lyth back onto strike, does a little bit of gardening, just holding Dylan Pennington up for a moment or two. And in he comes now, bustling in then from the Emerald stand end. It's a good length ball worked into the leg side by the left-hander. Yorkshire's record run scorer in T20 cricket, of course, passed that mark at Chesterfield a couple of weeks ago.
A deserved landmark as well for him. The plaudits that he receives in this competition in particular. He is a destructive player. Everyone knows his capabilities, his possibilities, and I suppose that's why the frustration comes from the crowd, from us as well, that maybe when he gets out for the lowest scores, you would just expect Adam Lyth to go big.
Pennington again. Oh, that's pulled by Adam Lyth from wide of off stump. Not quite got hold of it though. It's gone deep into the mid-wicket area. It's picked up a single. But, not the intended connection, but still gets a run.
No, I think that shows. I think they're just assessing, and I don't think it is a bell to this wicket, but I think that's fine. Maybe 160, 180 looks from at the minute a decent score, so we'll have to see.
And the Rapids, of course, they'll back themselves to chase whatever, I guess, as the champions. This time Pennington's in, and Kohler-Cadmore gets a thickish outside edge, goes flying past Ben Cox with no slip in place, and rattles into the boards beneath our feet for 4 more. End of over number 3 then.
Can't teach genius there, Tom.
25 without loss. Genius, yeah.
But it's good to see the intention from Tom. I was going to ask you, Fish, just in regards to this opening partnership, who tends to lead the way when it comes to being the aggressor in the partnership?
Lythy usually, and then Finn or Ank, and then the lads that are coming in, right hand, left hand, try and work around that.
That was particularly evident at Leicestershire, wasn't it? That was almost exactly what happened.
Yeah, no, I think I heard Gailey say as well that the the kind of game plan and the roles came down to a T in that game. That was the perfect way of doing it, and then obviously Tom caught up at the end.
So Pat Brown into the attack at the pavilion end. First ball was a dot. Again, just a bit of a thickish inside contact from Adam Lyth to mid-wicket, and he was trying to play it as he's just suggested in his own rehearsal of the shot, somewhere down towards the benches through long off. In comes Brown again, round the wicket. Lyth gets hold of this one. That is a tremendous blow from Adam Lyth, and crash straight into the boards beneath our feet for 6 more. 3 of them so far for Yorkshire's left-handed opener, and they're in a good place here. 31 without loss. I
don't know if I might be wrong here, Fish, but it looked as if Lyth had picked the slower ball in that instance, because it looked as if Adam Lyth had all the time at the crease there, and it was a beautiful shot towards long on, towards us here in the commentary position.
Definitely. I think Pat Brown had a great tournament last year, but our lads will have studied him and know what balls he does bowl. But yeah, great shot there.
And he comes again. This is short. That's a poor delivery and gets what it deserves. And that is 6 more over mid-wicket from Adam Lyth, who is racing away to a score here, as are Yorkshire. They're 37 now without loss.
You get a feeling here, Doidgy, that this is stellar Adam Lyth now. He's free in his arms. He's seen the ball like a football. Back-to-back sixes for a second time in this innings, and Yorkshire now have raced on to 37 without loss. And just goes to show, doesn't it? They only scored 2 runs off the first over.
To do here, there's going to be a little bit of a hold-up, because he's bringing the man up from third man to inside the circle, and now sending his man from mid-on out to long-on. That's the change.
Straight Yorker maybe, I'm not sure, just guessing, but we'll see.
See what it produces. Pat Brown, canny bowler, he's in again. It is full-ish, but wide of off stump and driven, and yeah, just half fielded again. A couple of errors in the field so far from Worcester. Doesn't cost him a run on this occasion. 37 without loss. 27 for Adam Lyth, 10 for Tom Kohler-Cadmore. If you're just joining us, welcome along. BBC Radio Leeds with Yorkshire's Matthew Fisher and Jamie Rayner, myself, Jonathan Doidge, ball-by-ball commentary of this Vitality Blast T20 game between Yorkshire, who won the toss and decided to bat first, and have got a great record here when doing so, and the champions Worcestershire Rapids. Next ball, Adam Lyth just a little bit disappointed with himself. He drops it in backward a point, but can't get through for a single. Bit of frustration?
Yeah, I don't think he should be. It was a heavy length ball there. I think he's trying to tell Tom what he's doing. I know after that second 6 in this over, he gestured as if it was an off cutter. So just keeping Tom up to date with what he's bowling.
I think the last 2 instances as well, they've been very keen to try and get the run in if the opportunity's there. We know how quick these two are between the wickets, and frustration not only not to get the shot away, but to make the run.
Yeah, mid-wicket was pushed back to the boundary there, and Adam Lyth, with a massive gap into the onside, was going to do nothing more than just work it there. No need to do anything silly, and pushes a single to finish the over then. 38 for 4, Lyth 28, Tom Kohler-Cadmore on 10.
I think, as we said before, that game management there, just to knock the single, he didn't feel like he needed any more, and then the pressure comes back onto Parnell at the Emerald stand end, and that's just really good game management there by Lythy.
So great atmosphere here as Yorkshire try to topple the champions. 38 without loss, as I say. Good crowd in, plenty in opposite us in the Emerald stand. Nice to see plenty of people in there, but away to our left as well, the northeast stand. Quite a lot in the members stand away to the left, and over on the western terrace. Not as full as it was for the Roses match last week, but still a healthy crowd. Short ball first up from Parnell, and that's another delightful shot from Adam Lyth, who just lofts it through the covers. Audacious stuff. He plays it again like a tennis shot, but he's going to pick up 4 runs for it, and that takes Yorkshire on to 42. He just punched his bat
and kicked the turf there, and that's just Adam Lyth to a tee. You don't know what's going on his head, but he obviously 100% happy of how he hit that.
The ball was somewhat airborne for a certain amount of time, and it was at a comfortable height, but he picked the gap superbly, as you say, Matt, and got it away for 4, but I imagine it was more than he intended for.
Parnell in and worked down to third man this time. Open face by Adam Lyth. 33 now to him, 43 without loss.
We always say as a group of players, when Lythy gets his strut on, you know he's going to have a good day, and feel like he's got his strut on today.
What impact does that have for you as the rest of the side as well? When you know he's in the zone and he's doing what he's doing, he's going through the motions, and you can see it already all the way up here. What does that do for you as a squad when you sat in your bunker getting ready to go out to bat?
It's brilliant. We all laugh about it. Like there, he went down 3/4 of the pitch.
Parnell in. Cola Cadmore cuts in
He
front
went down,
of square, no run.
He went down 3/4 of the pitch there to tap the pitch just to kind of have a chat with Tom, so you can tell that his beans are going. And like you say, we just know that he's in form, and he bats his bat on the ground harder and harder as he goes on through his innings. And when he got that 160, I don't think we thought there'll be any bat left when he came in.
Here's Parnell, it's full and pushed into the offside, extra cover by Cola Cadmore, no run. Adam Lyth, 107 T20 matches in his career. He's scored 2,349 runs at 24.98. And 24.98, when we look at 4-day cricket, might seem like a pretty ordinary average, but in this form of the game, that's very healthy.
Definitely, and I think that strike rate, I don't know what the strike, have you got his strike rate?
No, the strike rate's not on there, but we'll get that.
Yeah, it's strike rate plus average, I think they do, don't they, for T20 players? And if it's around 180, it shows that you're a pretty good player. I think his strike rate will be up there.
One of the statistics they often do, that's a lovely shot.
Yeah, Cola Cadmore cuts for the boundary, over towards the massive speakers away to our right. I'm not sure it's necessary to have that many, Jamie. Are people deaf in the Western Terrace, you think?
Well,
but anyway.
You be careful saying that, don't you? They'll come for you saying that.
47 without loss then. Cola Cadmore on to 14.
Just going back to the strike rate and the like, and we know that he had that period of time with England in the test side as Wayne Parnell comes into bowl. Straight back at him.
Yep, straight back at the bowler. 141.82 the Adam Lyth strike rate.
Brilliant.
That's incredible. But we talk about him in the England format, and there was that time in the test side, Fish, but his qualities, it's been for everyone to see in the T20 Blast in particular. And I know that there's the 2020 World Cup not too far away. I know we've got one already. I know we're trying to go for another. But surely from a selector's point of view, when you keep putting performances like he is, alongside Tom, it has to be said, it would be fair in mentioning him in the same breath. But you kind of feel as if England have missed a trick in recent times.
Yeah, obviously England's top order is brilliant, isn't it? And it's hard to get into that team. But having a left-hander at the top of the order might just help them. Obviously, people like Johnny and Alex Hales will be thinking differently today. But yeah, if you did want a left-hander in that top of the order, I don't think you'd look past Adam Lyth really in the county circuit. So, well, like you said, Tom and Livy, their opening partnership, they always get us off to a good start. So, yeah, both of them have good, solid T20 game plans.
So Dylan Pennington's been switched to this pavilion end, and he slants his first ball of the over across the face of Adam Lyth, who watches it go by. Can't have been too far away from being a wide, actually, in this form of cricket.
Adam Lyth has left a despondent figure at the other end of the crease, so there was a definite question to the umpire as to why that wasn't given a wide.
He has very good rapport with the umpires, like sure. Everyone. So I think that was more of a joke than a.
Umpires tonight, by the way, James Middlebrook, who's standing at the Emerald stand end, and at this end of the ground, pavilion end, is Nick Cook, who's signalling wide to this next Pennington delivery. So Adam Lyth got what he wanted.
Yeah.
There's definitely a bit of on-field negotiations there after that ball.
Nah, Nick Cook's very funny umpire, good lad, and I think he was gesturing to Pennington that was just an inch or two wider. So yeah, but Lythy, his antics work there.
So another one to the total, 48 without loss. Pennington in again. This time it's a good delivery just outside off stump. Adam Lyth, he's trying to work it away using the pace of the ball, but can't get anything on it. Throws his bat round in his hands. He's a real sort of display, like an actor out there, isn't he, with his, in front of his audience on stage for Adam Lyth in the middle of this crowd. He's really, really lapping it up. Are those the tell signs then to you, Fish, that he's in the zone, he's in the mood tonight?
Yeah. They're the things that we laugh about on the dugout.
Here he goes again, back and across, and chops this over the top of point once more. Just using the delivery's length there, just short of a length, and levering it up over the top of point. 4 more, 50 on the board for Yorkshire, 52 without loss. One place you can't bowl to Adam Lyth, and that's wide, short and wide, and
he just dispatches it over the 2-point fielders there.
So excellent execution. 37 for Adam Lyth. He got 69 down at Leicestershire last week and batted like an absolute dream. Here is Pennington again, and this is again good response from the bowler. Just tight lines, and Lyth watches it go by. He's bought himself a bit of time with a boundary. Pennington gone for 17 now, 4 balls into his 3rd over.
In the context of the score and the game situation at the moment, Pennington's bowled rather well, I'd say, Matt.
Yeah, he has. He's hit his lengths really well. Looks like he's got a clear plan. It looks like he's actually trying to get the batsman out, which I think is massive in T20, and credit to him.
Pennington in again, and this time Lyth swings away to mid-wicket, where there's an attempt at a catch, but that bounces past the fielder out there, and that was, by the looks of things, George Rhodes, I think, who was diving to try and take the catch. One of those that was always dying on him. It's a nightmare. Whether you play professional cricket or club cricket like we guys have done, they're nightmares, because you want to go and catch it, but then if it bounces just short of you, it makes you look an idiot, and it did. Yeah,
definitely. Tough one there for Rhodesy, but yeah, it's tough. You always got to try and go for them, and I think the lads will back him up there. He did the right thing.
41 to Lyth, 56 to Yorkshire, and Lyth just running this one down to 3rd man for another single then. So 42 to him, 57 without loss. It's been a good power play.
Strong power play from Yorkshire, and I'm sure, Matt, they'll be very happy with what they've put on the board between Tom and Adam Lyth there, and particularly Adam Lyth. We mentioned, didn't we, before the innings got underway, that if Yorkshire are going to get off to a good start here and build on a platform, then Adam Lyth, from what you said already in that power play, that he looks as if he's in the zone, he looks as if he's in the mood, and to hit back-to-back sixes on 2 separate occasions in that power play just shows the intent from Adam Lyth, and he's picking the bad balls and he's freeing his arms. Yeah,
what I'm really enjoying as well is that game management. End of that over to get through the power play with no wickets, just looks for his one, and he's back on strike to put the bowlers under pressure again. So when he's nicking strike, you know he's having a good night.
So it's going to be Ed Barnard then for his first delivery from the Emerald stand end. He's in and turned to leg by Lyth, who sprints through for a single. 43 now and 58 without loss, and this of course now sets things up beautifully for David Willey to go in and tee off from the outset.
Does, yeah. It just allows now, it allows them to have a look at what they've got, knock it a little bit, get Tom in again, and then literally every player can come in then with a freedom and a licence to try and hit the boundaries.
He's been a very busy figure on the sidelines, Dave Willey, with all his pads on.
Here is...
It's like his hair at the minute, very busy.
Barnard again pushed up by Kola Cadmore to long on, and there's a single in it for Tom Kola Cadmore, so he's on to 15 I should say, and 59 without loss. And also just looking at the setup of the side now, at this point you've got to 6 overs gone without losing a wicket, and there's been a couple of matches so far this season where lost early wickets and they've gone quite steadily in the first half of the innings, which makes it that much more difficult. Is this the moment now where you're starting to think, okay, are we going to be reshuffling the order perhaps in the second half to get the right players in at the right times, as Adam Lyth gets another... Oh dear me, he's just cut that away back at a point. Now then, once again George Rhodes doing the fielding. I think he's managed to salvage that for 2 after a fumble. There was some suggestion it might have touched the boundary rope, but not the case. 60 without loss. But so what I was going back to what I was saying, manipulating that batting order, maybe now is there the opening there to do that, having got off to a flyer?
Yeah, potentially, as Barnard comes in and Lyth just knocks it to 45. There could be 2 here. Yeah, they come back for 2. As you said, like I think who's it, Dave at 3. I think obviously that'll stay the same, but after that it'll just literally be on left right-handed in my opinion. I think that's a way that Gailey and Tom and Pato like to go, just to try and keep, as we know, the offside here from the Emerald stand end for Lyth is a shorter boundary, so they'll just try and be able to make use of that as it gets knocked out to square leg for 1. But yeah, not massively changing, but just right and left hand, I think.
So Lyth on to 47, 63 without loss. Kohler Cadmore then back on strike. Ed Barnard with 2 left in this over. He's gone for 6 so far. He turns just inside the circle and then pushes off from his run-up marker, and in he comes now. Bowles. It's a good delivery. This is an appeal for LBW. How's the beating of Kohler Cadmore? Maybe just caught the pad. Caught the pad before bat, but that's gone flying up to mid off the pad for leg by.
Hard to say from this angle. It looked as if to me it was going down leg and might even be a little bit too high to be.
I agree, but it flew to long off. It went outside the circle at long off.
What padding's he got on?
Yeah, just a bulletproof pads.
I'd have got loads of runs if I'd have had pads like that. So you're talking about players, David Willey to come next. Then you're saying left-hand, right-hand combi. Harry Brooks still to come. Gary Balance, of course, lefty. Johnny Tattersall, Jordan Thompson, another lefty. Yeah. Jordan, I thought maybe the one thing I thought last week in the Lancs game, and this is, you might think this sounds a bit strange given his brilliant record in all forms of cricket for the club, but maybe Jordan, the way he struck the ball so cleanly, might have gone in just one place above Gary Balance last week, possibly.
I think Gaz's role's changed. I think now Nicholas has gone, and I think with Brookie, I think we see him more of a. I know in the last couple of days we kind of want Gaz to kind of set the game up and then Brookie to finish it rather than the other way around in the Lancs game. So Gaz has that experience of big games and how to get you to 8, 10 and over in the last 3 or 4 overs. So I think where possible in run chases, I think Gaz will come in at 4. But tonight, like you said, I think Tats refers to this as being the greasy pole, and he'll be getting sliding down it as the overs pass. So you might see Tats come in maybe 8, 9 now rather than he would do at 4 or 5. So the big hitters will be strapping their pads on now.
So change of bowling, by the way, at the pavilion end. Just one delivery in the over so far. Darryl Mitchell is bowling right arm around the wicket, his medium pace, and Adam Lyth gets a delivery wide of off stump and pulls that across to the leg side for a single. So 67 without loss. Tom Kohler Cadmore back on strike. Of course, Tom, a former Worcester player, and in fact played in Worcester's only win here at Headingley in T20 cricket, which was back in 2015. Managed to make just the 8 that night for the opposition, but he pushes that up to long on this time. Takes him on to 17 tonight for Yorkshire, and the Vikings on to 68 without loss.
We're talking, weren't we, about how Adam Lyth likes to manipulate the strike, and it feels as if Tom's been somewhat a passenger in this innings thus far. I couldn't really tell you how many shots he's played, only a couple. Yeah,
and he's not needed, has he, because of Adam Lyth's blitzkrieg. This one, he tried to chop it away back with a point. He's annoyed with himself again, because had he got it, let's face it, probably a yard either side of the fielder, with the pace that was on the ball, that would probably have carried the boundary.
Yeah, it's been really clever from Tom. It shows his maturities. The older he's got, the more mature he's got in his innings, and maybe a few years ago he'd have tried to carry on with Lythy, but 50 for Lythy here, so great innings, and hopefully he can double it.
Yeah, super knock from Adam Lyth then, and his T20 record, well, as we've been alluding to already, in terms of Yorkshire, he is the record run scorer in this form of cricket for the Vikings. That is now his 13th 50 to go with that stellar century, that 161 that he got.
So our analyst that helps us has messaged me, he must be listening to the commentary, and he says Lythy's strike rate in the first 5 balls is 166.7, which is top 10 in the country in the first 5 balls. So.
Wow.
That's tremendous effort. Thanks, Bertie, for that.
Thanks, Bertie. The kind of geeky stats that you get from Bertie.
You got to love them, though. There's always room for geeky stats in cricket, no matter what format.
Single off the last ball of that over then. Yeah, Bertie was up in the box, actually, during a recent match to come and have a chat and tell us how it's all done.
Bertie?
Yep.
Yeah, no, he's an absolute genius.
I'm sure he said he'd buy us all a couple of beers at the next T20 game.
Did he? Yeah.
I think so, yeah. Probably during commentary as well. As James Coleman decides that it's a good idea to take a photograph of us for some reason.
Yeah, no, in the winter there was some stuff that I was wanting to get for myself for my own white ball cricket, and he was straight on it, and he got all the stats of what I needed. And
well, we joke around about it though, but given the fact that this is a game of 240 balls to play with, you have to work towards statistics. And you talk about game management, Matt. You must know the areas and the numbers and the areas of bowlers when going into bat, and vice versa when you're bowling at batsmen, their weak points.
Definitely.
Based on those statistics.
Pat Brown back again from the Emerald stand end, short, and that's hammered away off the back foot through the covers by Tom Kohler-Cadmo. Picks up just the one. He hit it so well. The sweeper was straight onto it though. So as Jamie was alluding to, he's just accumulating here while Adam Lyth goes mad at the other end. 19 for TKC, the 50 for Tom Kohler-Cadmo, and a couple of extras means 71 without loss.
There's a good bit of fielding out in the deep, and I was going to say, because actually in this innings so far, Worcestershire's fielding hasn't been that great to this point.
No.
And that can be the difference, can't it, Matt, in run chasers and totals, particularly in T20 cricket.
Adam Lyth back on strike then. Oh, that's a nice chip again over the top of point. He's getting this shot away so often now, Adam Lyth. 4 more here off the bowling of Pat Brown. And that, to me, now, we've seen that shot so many times in the match already. It says that you've got to say, the Worcester bowlers, are they really learning?
Yeah, Adam's so tough to bowl at when he gets in a groove. I know when I'm bowling him in the nets, he's probably the toughest to bowl at. It's because he gives himself room and he gives it that width. You've got to follow him as you get on. And he picks up length that's short, like, into him as well. So you have to actually be quite full, like, and try and hit his top pad strap. That's what I try. Even there, like, it's a tight line, but he's still trying to give himself width.
Yeah, he's absolutely knocked 7 bells out of his helmet with his own bat there. That must be we talk about the tell signs. That must be it there. He's an animated figure out in the crease.
So he is.
Still doing it. He's also hit his front pad. He tried to loft that for listeners who've not got the streaming pictures. He tried to loft that over the top of Ben Cox, the keeper, for 4 somewhere down beneath our feet in the commentary position here on the pavilion balcony, but missed, and he was livid with himself. We've got a change in the field. Fine leg has been brought up, and man at mid-off has been sent out to long off. Don't forget, of course,
slow ball here.
More men dispersed since the end of the power play. Short, slow ball as well, and Adam Lyth got something on that and dropped it down literally next to his feet and scampered through for a cheeky single.
That's like a 100-metre sprint between Tom Kohler-Cadmo and Brown to who will get to the crease first. They were chasing the ball. The ball barely left the square, the pitch.
I think Tom looked like if he needed a shoulder in, he would have given him it.
Well, there was definitely a little bit of just something there, wasn't there, on the way to the crease.
So 76 without loss. 19 to Tom Kohler-Cadmo, who's on strike. Lyth has moved on to 55. We are 4 balls into the 9th here. That buzz around the ground at Headingley as in comes Brown. Then Kohler-Cadmo drops it to point, and to tell you what, it'd have been a direct hit. It might have been in a little bit of bother. He set off for the run, came back, but then the throw beat the keeper. He was trying to hit direct, wasn't he, Martin Guptill, and they've gone through for an overthrow. So 20 for Kohler-Cadmo, 77 without loss. The sound effects will tell you that that's a little bit of a joke on the Worcestershire fielders. That's a little bit harsh, because it could have been a hero, couldn't it, if it hit?
An unsympathetic PA is what I'd call that, and the person controlling that is just the left of us, who's got a beaming smile on his face.
I think it's the blonde bombshell Sam Gascoigne, isn't it? Terrible sound effects.
Yorkshire's
media executive. As in comes Brown, and that's dropped backward of point there by Adam Lyth.
Oh, he's pleased with himself after that.
End of the over. 9 of them have been bowled. 77 without loss, 55 Lyth, 20 Tom Kohler-Cadmo, and that still represents an excellent position for your teammates to be in at this stage.
Yeah, no, definitely, Doji. A great start from the lads, and like I said, that platform now with no wickets left, you can kind of go to try and hit your boundaries near enough every ball now, but it'll be interesting to see how many gears Tom goes up in here, so we'll just have to see. It could be boundaries from both of them soon.
Well, he's only faced the 18 balls so far, 20 off 18, but he's now got 24 off 19 because this next delivery has been lofted over extra cover for 4, and that was just beautiful touch, wasn't it?
That was just a great cricket shot, wasn't it? He just saw a little bit of width. He knows that the gap over extra cover's there, and one bounce 4. He didn't try and hit it too hard.
So in once again comes Daryl Mitchell, and this is going in the same place but not lofted this time. And George Rhodes has come round to do the fielding from the war. But that's just a little indication, Jamie, maybe that build-up from Tom Kohler-Cadmore's starting.
Absolutely. The way that he made himself some room to loft the ball into the offside over the man who was in the circle.
So here he comes again, Mitchell round the wicket, and Lyth chops this away through point. Good support from Kohler-Cadmore, gets through for another single, and that's really important, isn't it, to get that support from your teammate in any form of cricket, but particularly in those quick singles.
Yeah, no, as I said before, I think it's been a really clever knock from Tom. It's kind of he's not an ego player, but he's kind of left his ego, parked it, and he just knocked it for Lythy here. And it's just a great platform, this, to be able to get 10 to 12 and over for the rest of the game.
Here's Mitchell again, and work backward of square this time by Kohler-Cadmore for another single. So he's 26, 84 without loss halfway through. In fact, 4 balls now through the 10th over.
One thing that is notable in this partnership is, obviously we've outlined the fact that Adam Lyth will be the aggressor of the two and Tom will be the anchor, but the elegance of Tom's shots as well. You've almost got the destructive nature of Adam Lyth at one end, who's prepared to play the riskiest shot, in comparison to the elegance and the steadiness, I would be hastening to say, of Tom Kohler-Cadmore at the other. It's almost a perfect hybrid. No,
definitely. Obviously a partnership, you need both players, and Tom's contributed as much as Lythy has, and it's a lovely bit of touch by Lythy there. It shows just that he can hit the big sixes, but he's also got the touch which makes him so hard to bowl at.
Yeah, that's an absolutely beautiful shot to describe it from Adam Lyth. Daryl Mitchell just giving him a little bit of width outside off stump. He knew exactly where the fielder was placed behind there at third man and got it finer than him, and has picked up 4 more. So
I think that was really interesting. Like white ball cricket nowadays, people think that you need to be like ahead of the game and predicting the ball before it comes, but that showed that he had a clear enough mind to just react to the ball, and they're the best players in the world. They react to that ball, and they might give themselves a little bit of room, but they do watch the ball and don't prejudge what they're trying to do, and that showed just how good a space he was in there. He could be looking at the short boundary and thinking, I'm going to hit for 6, but he wasn't. He was just predicting when the ball came down what shot he was going to play. So yeah, great innings here by both of them.
Absolutely, and given the fact that they're at the halfway stage now, 10 overs gone, 88 without loss, what will be a satisfactory total for them now? What will they be saying to one another out there come the 20th over? What score would they be happy with now they've got this platform?
Yeah, I'd think another 100 runs from here minimum, just with the wickets in hand.
Here's Barnard to Kohler-Cadmore, who's got this one up to long on, across the line, and picks up a single. So he's 27, 89 without loss. And just on the England front, by the way, folks, in case you weren't aware, England 267 for 4 at the close against Australia down at Edgbaston, end of day 2. So they've got themselves into a strong position. They've got to see that through, obviously, and run themselves up hopefully a decent first innings lead. Meanwhile, here at Emerald Headingley, Yorkshire Vikings taking on the Worcestershire Rapids in this Vitality Blast T20 game. Next ball from Ed Barnard was an attempted sort of paddle sweep really from Adam Lyth, but was wide of off stump and he missed what he was trying to do with it. Ben Cox standing up to Barnard, helmet on, and in comes Barnard again round the wicket and follows Lyth, who stepped away to leg. So in that case, as Matthew Fisher was saying, got to follow Adam Lyth. Good piece of bowling. He got a single, but credit the bowler.
Yeah, no, Ed Barnard is very good cricketer in all formats, and he knows his job, he knows his role with bat and ball, and he's keeping it fairly tight here, going at a run a ball, so he'll be happy with his efforts.
There he is again into Kohler-Cadmore, who's pushed that out to short extra cover. There's no run. Just to give you an idea of what's going on field-wise, there's a man at backward point, a man at short third man, a man at short fine leg, men out on the edge at deep backward square and at deep mid wicket, long on, long off, and sweeping on the cover boundary, and then a man inside the circle at extra cover. So plenty of open spaces now for these two Yorkshire batsmen to try to exploit. Kohler-Cadmore will try and do that now. Levers this one out towards long off, and he's got it all the way. 4-6. Dear me, that was pretty full to be hitting that shot, but he really levered it down, right out of the pitch almost to get it over the top of long off.
Yeah, great shot. I know Tom's philosophy when he is batting and trying to hit sixes is if he middles the ball, then he knows it's going to go for six, and that just looked perfect to his plan. He didn't try and hit it too hard and lose his shape. He just tried to keep his shape, and it, as he said, it went for six. So it's great to, when the pressure's on, to know that the things that in practice that he tries to do, he takes out to the middle, and that's great to see.
The next balls are wide, which is a bit of a win, I guess, for the batsman, because he's made the bowler think he's got to alter what he's doing.
Definitely. I know Ed and Tom played golf together this morning, so it'll be interesting to see who won that battle, but I think Tom might be winning this one.
This is next. The next one is full from Barnard and pushed up to long on by Cola Cadmore, who gets a single, so 6 off the over so far.
Interesting with that 6 that was shot by Tom there. It was a good shot, and it did come out of the middle, and it did go for a maximum, but the Worcestershire fielder out in the deep at long off was interested for a second, wasn't he? You didn't judge the flight of the ball to a certain extent, and it just went over the rope. And a number of Yorkshire sixes, they've not been huge sixes, they've just got over the boundary, but the point being there is that they're getting the maximums in, they're building that pressure. And the more that they go on throughout this innings without losing a wicket, you're sat in that bunker, that dugout now as a Yorkshire batsman, it fills you with even more confidence that you've got the licence to go out there and free your arms and continue that run rate.
Definitely. Yeah, as you said, like, I think that shows as well that the pitch isn't great. Like, just usually on really good pitches you'll see the ball fly out the ground, but I was just about to say that I reckon Tom will try and hit this for 36.
Well, they started off pretty well, because that is a massive 6 into the top tier of the northeast stand, pretty much straight, just to the offside of straight, and a beautiful shot from Tom Cola Cadmore. And before you start to mail in and tell me that my maths is wrong, yes, I accept that it was 10 off the last over, not 6, because one of the shots was a 6, wasn't it, from Cola Cadmore himself. He's moved into the 40s now, and it's 104 without loss. And he's gone here, he will go. He's pulled the next one to the man who's at straight mid-wicket, just inside the boundary. Didn't quite get it as he wanted, so he might have gone for 6 sixes, but he succeeded only in managing the one. But Tom Cola Cadmore, excellent knock. He's gone, caught for 40 off the ball.
Yeah, like I said there, I thought he would try and take him down. That's a matchup in the game which we speak about, and I don't think Rhodes would have come into the game earlier if they'd have got 1 or 2 wickets. But there, because Tom was on strike, like, it just got to a point where they had to bowl him, and Tom was on strike, and that's a matchup where his role there was to take him as much as he could, and he did that selflessly. And now Harry Brook comes to the crease, Jamie.
Yeah, interesting that Harry Brook's come to the crease. We had Dave Willey down as number 3, but it's Harry Brook who's walked out into the middle. Just to go back to Tom's wicket, Matt and Dorji as well, he hit the first ball for 6, and we were talking about, weren't we, there was those ones that were just going over the boundary. That was a huge 6 into the second tier. And do you think because of that shot he got a confidence in mind, he wanted to continue that momentum? He didn't really catch all of it, did it? Maybe it wasn't as full as he'd have liked to have got the loft on that to beat the man at Cow Corner.
No, definitely.
But coming off that field, 40 for his troubles, he'll be happy with that innings.
Yeah, he played his role down to a T there, and obviously credit to George Rhodes. He just dropped it a little bit shorter and fired it in a little bit more. But as I said, it was kind of something that Tom had to do. It was probably high risk, but it was something for the team now at this stage that he really needed to try and take down the off spinner.
What's the thinking with Harry Brook going out to the middle?
Great player, spin, right, left-handed. That's the main reasons, I'm guessing. Nothing more than that, really.
So in he comes again, and that's pushed out into the leg side by Adam Lyth. Picks up a single to mid-wicket. So, yeah, I was going to say left-hand, right-hand. I think that's probably the only obvious answer, isn't it, really? And next time, if Adam Lyth goes, then David Willey will walk out, you would imagine.
I think he'll look to use his feet fairly early, if not first ball, and look to try and hit over extra and mid-wicket, really. That's Brookie's strengths.
So here's Rhodes in again, round the wicket, and turned into the leg side by Harry Brook. First ball, no run. Ed Barnard was the man, by the way, doing the catching off George Rhodes, who's in again. and this time flicked nicely by Harry Brook through mid-wicket, and he'll pick up a single. And this is usually the point where I start to eulogise about Harry Brook and his abilities, and I can't resist doing it every game because I just love to watch him bat. I think he's got so much time to play any ball, and I hope that he stays in for a little while here yet, and we see some good cricket from him. But it's Adam Lyth who's been grabbing the headlines so far. He's in the 60s, and with another single there out to backward point, he picks up a further single, so further run. So it's 63 to him, 1 to Brook, 107 for 1 after 12.
Yeah, obviously Brookie, we've all seen him, all the fans, Yorkshire members, they know how good he is, and yeah, it's just about him fulfilling that potential that he's got, and he's starting to do that. And I know in Championship cricket with the 100 against Somerset, every run he scores for Yorkshire will settle him down even more, and he loves playing for Yorkshire. He loves all formats, and I know that tonight he'll put in a stellar performance and try and have a decent strike rate, which he always loves.
Barnard in to Lyth, who flicks it away into the leg side. They're thinking about a second. Harry Brooks supported his teammate well and gets back for 2. Good running. So 65 to Lyth, 109 for 1. The thing with Harry Brook, for me, is that sometimes he gets himself out because he could play about 4 different shots to the ball that comes down.
I think that's something that he really needs to work on. Like, it's not a negative at all. He can play every shot in the book, which is obviously a massive positive. It's just when he needs to use them at different times, and he'll get that with experience. And obviously the shot against Lancs, I know it was probably not right for that occasion, but he just wanted to show that he could run down to a seamer and hit him over the top. So like, I admire the way he thinks and the way he goes about it, but for me, he's just got to choose when he hits them shots. But proper player, unbelievable player, and probably one of the most talented we have.
So single to Lyth, followed by a single there to Harry Brook himself. He's on to 2, 66 to Lyth. Nelson, which of course means some people might be hopping around at this stage.
Say it quietly,
1 for 1.
Adam Lyth will not be thinking about that.
So here he is, the Whitby Warrior on strike. And that's backward of point for another easy single. I thought the shot against Lancs by Harry Brook didn't look like it was the wrong shot to play, to be honest. I just think he didn't get the execution of it right, did he? You could see what he was trying to do. Yeah,
it was. I think it was one that
maybe
if you'd have thought of telegraphed, he had mid-off up and he was going to bang it in. He was going to bowl it quite short, and running at someone I don't think's maybe the best option. I think sitting back and doing what he did maybe a better option, but again, he'll learn from that, and looks good there. Get 2.
Yeah, no, flicked it away through mid-wicket. He's going to pick up the single.
But as I said, it wasn't down to him that we lost that game. That was just you just look at things when you lose a game like that and think why have we lost that game? And yeah, it's good that you can get back out there and we've started well tonight.
You make the point that I was going to raise. How important is it to come out and respond to that? Then you must, as players, be itching to try and redeem yourself from a result like that against Lancashire.
No, definitely. The lads were keen to get back out there, and it always hurts that much more, and you want to get out there and resurrect that feeling of winning again, and yeah. So the lads, they train hard. We have our plans, and sometimes it don't come off, and in big games sometimes the pressure can get to you, but hopefully that doesn't define our T20 season.
114 for 1 then. If you're just joining us, welcome along. BBC Radio Leeds from Emerald Headingley. Yorkshire Vikings taking on the champions, the Worcestershire Rapids, in this Vitality T20 Blast competition. Tom Kohler, Cadmore, the Yorkshireman, out. Caught Barnard Bill Rhodes a couple of overs ago for 40 from 27 deliveries. Adam Lyth is out there, 68 not out and counting, or is he? No, he's not. He's out for good now, because he's just pulled that one straight to mid-wicket off the bowling of George Rhodes, and Adam Lyth's excellent 68 comes to an end, and Yorkshire 114 for 2.
That wicket puts, in my opinion, Yorkshire just in a little bit of bother now at the moment. The two openers that were well set and got Yorkshire into this position. You would always want one of them to remain out there, but with Harry Brook there on 3 and Dave Willey walking out to the crease, you've got 2 batsmen who are relatively fresh in this innings. But let's not take anything away from the fact that Adam Lyth, as he receives a well-earned round of applause from the Yorkshire faithful as he walks off the pitch. A fantastic 68 from Adam Lyth, his second 60 score of the T20 season, and just showing the qualities that he has in this shorter format, Matt. But he'll be disappointed, won't he? Because he'll want to go on and get a big score in this game.
Yeah, I'd like to get 100 there, but as I said, he was doing something that the pitch and the outfield, like, that wasn't a bad option. He tried to sweep him over the long boundary, and for me, like, I don't mind him getting out like that. It was a great option to have. Obviously his execution wasn't there, but it brings 2 new lads to the crease, and like I said, few balls to get in and they'll have licence again.
So David Willey has walked out, but it's Harry Brook on strike at the moment, and he's just chipped this one over the bowler's head. He might pick up 4 runs, I should say, but not the case, because that's been picked up a couple of metres inside the boundary rope. Has to settle for a single. 114, 115 now for 2.
I tell you there, just from a Worcestershire point of view, Martin Guptill out in the deep here at, well, long on now, was long off for Harry Brook, and the way he grabs it, picks it up, throws it into the wicket. Everyone could field, no one would decry any county level player that, but the international quality there from Martin Guptill.
Rhodes in. Swipe for David Willey. Stand and deliver, sort of foot planted down and missed on this occasion. But still time, 6.5 overs to go. But as Jamie alluded to, it could be danger territory here with 2 new batsmen at the crease. David Willey gets this away for a single into the offside. They think about a second because there's overthrows, but they're not going to take it. BBC West Yorkshire Sport at gmail.com, by the way. Remiss of me not to give you our email address. If you want to get in touch, we'll try and get your messages out there. Not as easy during T20 cricket as it is during the nice 4-day amble that we sometimes have. And Charles has also tweeted. You can do that. Give you the details in a mo, because this next delivery from Rhodes to Brook is pushed up to long on for 1 more, making it 118 for 2. Charles says hello from Spain. Wonderful to hear an unbiased all Yorkshire commentary team, enjoying the contrast after listening to a proper day's Test cricket. Great news about Maharaj, and thumbs up for an overdue win today. Well, fingers crossed from a Yorkshire perspective as Rhodes comes in again to the left-handed Willey, who smashes that into the offside, but straight to a man. End of the over. Good one as well from Rhodes. He's 2 for 12 from 2 overs now, having been smashed for a 6. I think first ball by Tom Kohler-Cadmore, so he's gone for 6 off his last 11 deliveries. 117 for 2 at the end of the 14th.
Bit of a tricky period for Yorkshire, I would say, after that real strong start set by Adam Lyth and Tom Kohler-Cadmore. One of the things that was outlined in the defeat to Lancashire last week was the difference between the middle overs from both sides in how Yorkshire approached that. And the run rate quite naturally has dropped because of, as you've mentioned there, Georgie, the lack of runs in the last few deliveries and overs. Oh, that's horrendously wide.
It is very, very wide from Ed Barnard. They're going to pick up a bye to go with that, I think, from Harry Brook. So a couple there. You can get in touch with us, by the way, on Twitter, at Jamie Rayner, for the man 2 to my right, at 9M_Fisher, not complicated by any stretch of the imagination for Fish,
yeah.
And at Jonathan Doidge, plain and simple for yours truly. We're on Twitter, so give us a shout. Any points you've got during what remains of the broadcast, as Barnard's in and off the back foot, top of the tiptoes really from David Willey. He's got it up to long off for a single. He's on to 2. It's 120 for 2.
Might be just their bowlers, but I think it does look like it doesn't look a belter, this pitch. I don't know whether you two would agree. I think the slow balls look like they're gripping a little bit in the surface, and I think it looks like we might have chatted about that on the sides, and the way that they're playing, it doesn't look like they're trying to get to 200. It looks like they're trying to solidify kind of 160, 180. When
Tom Kohler-Cadmore was out, he came down to the, I keep calling it a bunker, I don't know what the official dugout is, you call it a dugout, and he had a real good long chat with not only Gary Balance, who is padded up and ready to go out there, but the whole of the squad that sits within the dugout. Tom obviously has been playing in the captaincy role somewhat over the last few games. I know Steve Patterson is here as ball doesn't really seem to leave the wicket. I don't know what that's come off, Doidge.
No, David Willey missed it. Ben Cox whipped round the front of the stumps to pick it up. Must have hit some of David Willey's equipment, I would imagine.
But Tom's clearly had a long chat with the dugout to, obviously, as you said earlier, Matt, relay the information about the pitch, but obviously that'll give them a game plan as well, won't it?
Yeah, no, he's great at that, is Tom, and like his innings, it showed like how much he reads the game, and I'm sure whatever he's saying is a good score will be. And I think, like, looking at the game situation now, and obviously this over, it'll be a leg side short boundary for Dave, so I think they'll be trying to set it up here. Maybe not take much of a risk in the next 2 balls, and then try and get Dave on strike for the next over, and he'll try and do what Tom did to that Rhodes over and try and take it down.
So that was a single to Willie, and here's Harry Brook
Maybe
going
not.
big and straight into the emerald
What a
stand, into the black sight screen at the far end of the ground. Beautiful shot from Harry Brook. That's a proper cricket shot, and it's got him a maximum 6 runs.
But that 6 will just relieve the pressure. The dot balls and the singles and the 2s, they hadn't been a boundary for a few, maybe even overs now, so that will just relieve the pressure from a Yorkshire perspective.
Last ball of the 15th, Brook onto 12, and this time uses his feet and gets it away through extra cover, where it's half fielded, but enough to keep them to a single. 13 to Brook, 3 to Willie. At the end of the 15th, they're 129 for 2. And yeah, your comments about the pitch, I mean, I can't remember, did you go to Leicester last week?
No, I didn't.
Right, that was a belting pitch. It was pretty obvious from the word go, the way that Adam Lyth and Tom Kohler-Cadmo were able to strike the ball clean. And it was noticeable that when Yorkshire bowled, they looked more or less like they were trying to cut out the pitch and bowl full length,
Yeah.
you know, trying to bowl lots of Yorkers.
Yeah.
Tonight, I would see them, you know, having seen them bat now, I will see them trying to use the pitch a lot more from a bowling perspective when they get out there.
I think we've got a great view here of the size of the boundaries, and this side to the right of us is massive corners and a massive wide bit of area, and I think like now if you're bowling at this end to a right-hander, you'd more go bouncers, cutters, and you'd leave out giving any width, so you'd try and get them hitting towards this way, which looks like the field that he's setting is going to be what he's trying to do. Obviously that doesn't mean the batter can't move around and provide width for himself, but we'll see what Brookie does here.
Ed Barnard is done, by the way. 4 overs for 36 for him without taking a wicket. It's the 2 that have gone so far have gone to George Rhodes, and here is Dylan
Great
Pennington
shot.
in, and that's a beautiful shot from Brook again, who's lofted it wide of long off. 1 bounce and into the northeast stand for 4 more.
That's where you have a little sympathy for bowlers in this game, like Pennington. Like, he's followed him, he's given himself width, and he's just hit a lovely shot over the fielder that's up. He was kind of bowling to his plan, but you just got to say credit to Brookie there.
Here's Pennington again then. It's his last of 4 overs then. That's a good delivery from Pennington. Brooks steps away to his leg side and is followed by Dylan Pennington. I'm not sure actually if it was a clean straight through knocking middle stump out, or if it's come off Harry Brook's pads.
Yeah,
Was there any contact? It was slightly obscured with the stumps by the batsman from here.
Tried to give himself room again, but Pennington followed him even more, and good bowling.
Credit
I think.
there, credit goes there to Pennington. He followed Brook, who tried to give himself some room. We spoke about that dancing down the wicket in the Lancashire game. Brooks again tried to do that, and Pennington's followed him. It's come off his pad and taken middle stump out of the ground, and Brook departs the field for 17, and a figure that this Yorkshire crowd are so used to seeing. Big Tim Bresnan comes in at number 5, I should say, for Yorkshire.
Yeah, obviously we know Brezzy's strengths, and he'll look to hit from about cow corner to mid-off, and that's kind of his arc, and I'm sure they'll know that they've brought mid-wicket up and fine leg back, so I think they're going to either go hard length or a bouncer here.
Great to see Brezzy back out there. 133 for 3 with the loss there of Harry Brook, who made 17, by the way, bowled by Dylan Pennington off 11 deliveries. And Pennington now getting a bit too excited with his first ball at Bresnan, and straight down the leg side, which inevitably is signalled as a wide by umpire Nick Cook. Sun shining, Shadows lengthening from the west side of the ground, right to left, as we look at it here from the pavilion. And Dylan Pennington, a little bit of a jiggle, a few steps as he settles into his run-up, and then he comes in. It's full, and that's whipped away back with a square by Bresnan. He's going to beat the fielder from fine leg, and his first scoring shot, his first ball received really, is 4 runs. Good start. Great start.
I think he's been in great form for the second team. He's got some good runs in T20 cricket, and he's earned his spot tonight as Bresnan. Hopefully can hit a few boundaries and get his strike rate up and get us to a really good score.
Who will make that decision down in the dugout as to who goes out next then, Fish? If you're sat down there now, who gives Brez the nod to go out there?
Well, I think from this year they've introduced Richie Pyro with an earpiece, and if we can look over the edge, there'll be Gailey's got one on his right ear there. He's got an earpiece when he turns his head. This is on the balcony just in front of us for the listeners, and he'll be radioing down to Rich, who's in the dugout, and then there's Pato there. Looks like Gailey's writing notes. It's something that they'll make split second decision as the wicket goes down. But as I said at the start, it'd be more right left-handed, and who they feel. Tats is more of a touch player, Brez is more of a hit boundaries player, and at this time of the game you probably need the boundaries, so that's why they'll put him in there. But yeah, it's good to have that communication. I think it's good that we've added it this year.
Just missed the one ball from which Brezzy got a single, and Dylan Pennington falls over as he delivers this next one, which is wide of off stump this time. David Willey watches it go by, and it's signalled a wide once again by umpire Nick Cook. So another one to the total, extra ball to come as well. And yeah, the scene down below us, as Fish was describing, Steve Patterson just moved from the back of Andrew Gale. He's sitting at the back of Tom Kohler-Cadmore, Don Bess and Dwan Olivier, who of course is not playing tonight but is kitted out, as this next delivery is going to be another wicket, and it's caught out here at long off, this time by Ricky Vessels, off the bowling of Dylan Pennington. David Willey trying to go for a maximum beneath our feet, trying to hit his teammates down on the balcony that I was describing, but not quite getting everything on it, and he's been caught about 5 metres or so inside the long off boundary. He's gone, caught Vessels, bowled Pennington then for 3 from 7 deliveries, and Yorkshire another one down.
Yeah, frustrating innings from David Willey, really. 3 off 7 balls and going at a strike rate of 42.86. It's not really the innings that Dave Willey would have wanted. Matt, he's a player that we've seen that's been so destructive in the past, and it never really got going for him.
No, yeah, he's one of them. He needs kind of 5 to 10 balls. A bit more like Tom, plays more like that, and with obviously the innings going as it was, he had to go probably a bit sooner than he'd wanted tonight. He kind of likes the new ball and getting on the bat, and that's why he comes in when the first wicket goes down. It's usually in the power play, so a little bit of a different role for him tonight, but again, he had to do it. Good option.
You noticed I hesitated to give the score because it was taken off the board. 140 for 4 it was. Pennington in, and the short ball pulled by Bresnan, who gets through for a single but can't make it back for 2 because there was a good bit of combi work out towards the Western Terrace boundary by the Worcestershire fielders. So 4 overs, 24 balls remain. Yorkshire 141 for 4.
It's hard to judge really where or not Yorkshire are at in terms of their great start with Adam Lyth and Tom Kohler-Cadmore, whether they're going to continue that run rate to get to the 200 that we'd maybe mentioned at the halfway stage, Doige. But it was keen to see there that Bresnan wanted to get on strike. They clearly want to keep that aggressive nature throughout this innings, despite the fact that maybe the more measured, calculated figure in Gary Balance is at the other end. But with how many overs remaining now? 4 overs remaining for Yorkshire. 141 for 4. They'll be looking to target 180, I'm sure, Matt.
Yeah, definitely. I think it just needs a cameo or 2 here to get you up to that 180 mark. You usually try and get 10s off the last 4, and with 6 wickets in hand, we've got that ammunition to try and go each ball. And 20 off 10 balls would be a really good contribution here.
Pennington, by the way, 2 for 34 off his 4 overs. He's done for the night as Parnell is in from the Emerald stand end, and that would have been out. Tim Bresnan just laying his bat on that one to backward point, and the throw came in. He was out of his ground and given up, but fortunately from his point of view it missed. No run though, so 23 balls left for Yorkshire to come up with something then that is going to challenge the opposition here. Bear in mind, they are the champions. They bat deep. Here, once again, is Parnell. Bresnan doesn't get hold of it as he would like. It's just outside the circle in the end, as it's half picked up, and just a bit of pressure in the running there from Bresnan. Got to the end of the single, it was fumbled, came back for 2.
I think he hit it so badly that it actually went in the middle of both fielders and he got back for 2. So Tim always does struggle to turn back for 2, so there must have been if he got back. I was
going to say, I saw a 2 coming. I thought he's struggling here, Tim Bresnan.
It's a fairly sizable turning circle. Here is Parnell again, and Bresnan nicely plays that one on the full outside off stump down to third man for 1 more.
Like we spoke about before with Lythy's antics at the crease, another thing we laugh at is Brezzy's running, so I think the lads on the dugout would have been laughing there when he was coming back for 2.
Interestingly, a name that you mentioned earlier on in the innings, Doidgy, was Jordan Thompson, and his inclusion, the fact that he's been hitting the ball so cleanly. I know that there's been the need and the desire to have a left-right combination at the crease, but would there have been a temptation to have put Jordan Thompson out there and give him a run in this team with less than 4 overs remaining?
For me, I mean, this might be sacrilegious, but for me, there might have been at this stage, and still have got Gary to send in if you need to.
I think with Tomo, like, he's one of them that there's not many. He can hit the first ball, he comes in for 6, and I think the thinking behind this is probably Gaz to kind of, it sounds weird now, but he's kind of going to do the Tom roll and anchor the lads. Like, if you lose 2 in this over, then it becomes tough to get 180, but he'll just give 1s to Brezzy and Tomo if he comes in next.
Single there to Gary Balance, so 145 for 4. Bresnan 9 not out, on strike again to Parnell here, and
6.
He's absolutely smashed that over long on for a huge 6. Tim Bresnan at his absolutely fantastic best, a maximum.
You spoke about that cow corner area, Matt, when he came out to bat, and that's exactly where Tim Bresnan has put that ball deep into the crowd as well. A huge 6 from Tim Bresnan, and that will just rock the Worcestershire bowlers, I'm sure. How much pressure will that put on them now?
Yeah, massively. I think they need to go wider out of Tim's arc, really. That would be something where I'd bowl at Tim, but I think Parnell's, he's just, with all the experience, he showed a bit of a lack of experience there, but credit to Tim, it's not easy depositing people for 6, and he's done it with ease.
Last ball of the over off Brezzy's pad for a single, so 152 for 4. He's on 15, Balance not out 1, just 3 overs, 18 balls remain. Yorkshire 152 for 4. They'll want Jamie at least 10 and over from these last 3 if they can get them.
You would like to think so. That would get them to that 180 mark. I don't want to go back to the point too much, but just to go back to the point about Gary Balance and playing that Tom Kohler-Cadmore role with 3 overs remaining. Is there a place for that now in the stage of the innings?
Probably not like in the last 2, but certainly at the minute. I don't think Gaz will be thinking just knock 1s, but he won't be thinking about the high risk shots. He'll be just playing the ball like Lythy was earlier, but looks like Tomo's getting stretched off, and like I said, Tomo's last 2 overs is probably perfect for him, because like I said, he can go from first ball and he's got the license to do that, and I'm sure if there is a wicket in the next over or 2, Tomo could get that 15 off 5-6 balls and be a great cameo.
That was another single to Brezzy, and at this time it is Gary Balance pushing out square on the offside for 1 more, so 154 for 4. He's on to 2, Bresnan on to 16. 2 overs and 4 balls remain.
That shot there from Gary Balance, just in light of what we've been saying, it's clear to see that he's trying to rotate the strike and get it back to Tim Bresnan, to the aggressor out of this partnership.
Yeah, definitely. I think Pat Brown's set his field perfectly for the dimensions of this pitch. And in he comes and he bowls, and he goes short there. So he's bowling well to the dimensions, bowling to the long side.
Yeah, good stuff from Pat Brown. I was going to say something then, but for the life of me, it must be age. Yeah, I've forgotten the point I was going to make.
It's all right.
Stop laughing, you two. Stop giggling. That's just not on.
Let's focus attention on the fact that the Vikings mascot's in full force now. It's great to
Yeah.
see him out. It was a blooming warm one, wasn't it, last week?
He's bent down, and I think I've just seen the cow and calf at Ilkley. Here's a short ball from Brown, and that's nicely worked by Bresnan, who, with his comical running style, gets a single down to fine leg and thinks about a second. It takes a bit of winding up, does the Bresnan body, doesn't it, when he's called upon for at least one or two?
Does, yeah, like you say, it's funny to watch, but yeah, the more boundary he hits, the less running he has to do, so I'm sure he'll be trying to do that.
The changes in the field once again. And been sent off down to third man for Gary Balance. And we talk about Gary Balance trying to run it around here, and he's on 2. I'm wondering if Jordan Thompson should go in. Let's not forget, and this is why I said it could be sacrilegious to say it, about do we send in Jordan Thompson instead of Gary Balance at this stage. Let's not forget some of the innings he's played in one-day cricket. There was a tremendous knock here early in the season when he got a ton, and he was levering shots out of the park for fun. So we know he can do it.
I know when I was younger and I used to come watch the T20s when I was 14, 15, and Gaz was one of the main finishers and hitters. I remember him used to... Oh.
That's another poor piece of fielding now. Come back to Fisher's point, that was absolutely hammered straight down the ground by Gary Balance. The bowler got something on it. 2 fielders converged, threw the ball back in, and then bowler Pat Brown fumbled the throw and Tim Bresnan was gone for all money.
Yeah,
so they've
great
got back
running
to 2.
again there by Tim Bresnan. I don't think there was 2 for anyone, never mind Tim.
So 157 for 4. Balance not out 4. That could have been a 4 in itself had the bowler not got something on it, because he really did give that the kitchen sink along the ground. Long on drops out as Pat Brown comes in again around the wicket to Balance, who this time has chipped it in the air out towards extra cover, and he's been caught 3 or 4 metres in from the boundary edge out there. So another wicket, or a wicket for Brown, first one he's taken, and they're 157 for 5. Gary Balance is gone.
Yeah, obviously got to that point where he felt like he needed to go. Brings Tomo to the crease, and like I said, he'll have that licence now to... It kind of secured 180 now, and it's about can you hit 2 or 3 sixes to make you get up towards 200. So hopefully Tomo can have that cameo like we know he can do.
And again, you feel like batsmen sometimes have been out there longer than ever. He was out there 9 minutes, Gary Balance, but actually only faced 4 balls for his 4 runs.
Well, it clearly shows that he was trying to rotate the strike and get the aggressor in the form of Tim Bresnan on strike. My only question would be whether or not it would have been worth putting Jordan Thompson, who goes out to the middle now, a little bit earlier, given the fact that you get 4 from 4 in the form of Gary Balance. But as we've said already, Jordan Thompson, he can hit a 6 first up.
Let's see if he can then, because he's in first up now and misses, wouldn't you know,
there,
right on cue. Yeah, commentator's curse. So first ball of Wayne Parnell's over is a dot. 11 left in the innings for Yorkshire to try and get to that 180. They're 157 for 5.
I think it does show, like obviously we're saying Tomo can go from the first ball, but it's shown with Dave's innings, Gaz's innings, that it isn't a pitch, it isn't a belter. It isn't one of them where you can literally score quickly straight away.
Oh, good delivery. That's a beautiful delivery from Wayne Parnell, and that has taken Jordan Thompson's leg stump. So not tonight for Jordan Thompson. Second ball duck, 157 for 6.
Yeah, beautifully bowled Yorker by the South African there that just took out Jordan Thompson's leg stump, and he faced 2 balls and a duck for his troubles in the process. Johnny Tattersall going out the opposite direction now towards the crease. Yorkshire's first innings total somewhat tailing off after that by Adam Lyth and Tom Kohler-Cadmore, but 180, as we've said already, that'll be a score that they'll be in their mind, and whilst Tim Bresnan remains at the crease, it's well within their reach of reaching 180.
Definitely, I think Tats is one of them. He's a really tough batter to bowl at, because he hits it in different areas. He'll hit it past point, he might scoop.
He's your touch player, isn't he?
He is, yeah, he's a classy player, and he'll just, like we said earlier, he'll react to the ball and he hits it in weird areas. They won't know too much about him either.
So he's on strike then to face Wayne Parnell, who's in now. It's full, and Tattersall gets it out into the leg side. He's going to have a shy at the stumps at the non-striking end. Johnny Tattersall is as quick as it comes between the wickets, though, from a Yorkshire point of view. Gets through for a single, 158 for 6.
Yeah, interesting, Wayne Parnell targeting Johnny Tattersall as the wickets to be aiming towards when Tim was going the opposite direction, struggling. I think he's probably a relieved figure to know the ball wasn't coming his way.
You can imagine that in the dressing room afterwards, can't you? Brezzy saying, wait a minute, pal, the one he was trying to run out is the quickest.
Bring fine leg up and long off out.
Off goes back, yeah.
Looks like it could be a slow ball. That would be my field if I was bowling a slow ball. But
so in comes Parnell again. This is full Yorker. And smashed down the pitch. Good attempted Yorker as well. But they get a single for it. Bresnan on to 18, 159 for 6.
I think there with the field for Brez, they brought fine leg up because he's not really a player that'll scoop you. Like we kind of know, like we've said, his V is more cow corner to long off, and he had them protected and can bring his fine leg up.
Also, credit to Wayne Parnell as well as some deft bowling here.
Nailing his Yorkers.
Next delivery sees Tattersall step across to the offside. There's an appeal for caught behind here. It's not been given. Appeals going on everywhere. And score remains the same. Straight out of Ben Cox's gloves. Just trying a little scoop or flick. Fine was Johnny Tattersall, but missed. Good evening to John Logan. He's emailed us, bbcwestyorkshiresport@gmail.com, and simply says, good evening, JD, Jamie, and Agathist.
What does that mean?
Tim Bresnan's running style.
What does Agathist mean?
Good question.
I'll have to get my phone out.
Probably boring or monotone or something like that.
Now this is the shot that Johnny Tattersall was trying to play the ball before. Good piece of fielding as well by Dylan Pennington down on the boundary edge beneath our feet. They've got back for 2. He scooped it nicely, but just couldn't quite get it fine enough to get himself 4. It's the end of the 19th over. Yorkshire, well, coming up shorter than we imagined they might at this moment in time. 161 for 6.
19 runs looks somewhat a tall order in this final over, given the fact that Tim Bresnan and Johnny Tattersall at the crease, but it is still possible. Just going back to those final 2 deliveries of the over, the first one being an appeal by the Worcestershire bowling attack. I must admit that the ball did as if behind, but then the second delivery of those final 2 balls managed to get a clean flick away and a good piece of fielding out in the deep as Tim Bresnan goes big. It's high in the air.
It's going to be caught. It is caught by Ed Barnard out there at straight mid wicket. So Bresnan, the latest Yorkshire casualty, 161 for 7 now, and at one stage 98, 107 in fact without loss. Yorkshire at one stage, and just looking down what's been happening in recent overs, 5 off over number 18, 4 off over number 19. It's starting to tail off when you like to think it should be really accelerating.
Yeah, it's been really disappointing here, Jamie. I think we had such a good start that we're kind of letting them lads down here with the lower order, middle order, and it's just, yeah, I just, until both teams are batting on it, I think it's not as good a pitch as we think, but I'm hoping that's the case. I'm not.
I think there's a bit of the fact that probably the pitch has had something to play in it as we just wait for this ball to come through.
Here's Brown short, pulled by Dom Bess, who's the new man out there. And in fact, it was by Johnny Tattersall, I should say, because they're crossed, of course. So he gets a single. And Dom Bess is the new man out there and will now take his first ball with 4 balls remaining. Yeah,
just going back to that point, I know we talk about the pitch, and it does look like not a great pitch, and that will give the Yorkshire bowling attack some confidence. But we said it at the time, didn't we? The fact that they lost Tom Kohler-Cadmore and then Adam Lyth went not too long afterwards, and the 2 players that you've got set in that partnership both go, and then you're almost pressing the restart button. Power play overs have now gone.
Here's Brown again from this pavilion end. Lovely shot this time by Dom Bess, who got underneath that and just ramped it over the top of the man at short third man and picks up 4, which will be a little bit of a boost with 3 balls still to come.
Vital runs at this stage of an innings. 3 balls remaining, and with a lovely touch by Dom Bess there to pop it over the third man and race away to the boundary for 4. These are very, very important runs now for Yorkshire. If they can get to 170, 175 from this position, you'd be happy.
So 4 apiece for the 2 batsmen. Bess on strike. This time it's Fuller of length, pushes it out in front of the man at point and will pick up a single. He's on to 5, 167 for 7, and just 2 balls left.
I think it's important, obviously the momentum switched back to them, but in these 2 balls you can get it back with a couple of boundaries. The lads come in and 175 and you're bouncing, so just try and steal that momentum back here.
What's going on in the crowd over there? Looks like we've got a blow-up doll being thrown around. Delboy and Rodney over there, perhaps. As in comes Brown. This is Johnny Tattersall stepping away. That's a tremendous shot from Johnny Tattersall. Step right away outside leg stump and has cut it away backward of point for 4 more.
Johnny Tattersall's strengths there for everyone to see, picking the gap beautifully with a well-cut, late-cut shot, and backward of point, as you say, Doige. And like we've said, you know, two boundaries in the last 4 balls of an over. Valuable runs for Yorkshire, and another boundary here would see them to 175. And you talk about momentum. We speak about that so much within cricket going into the halfway stage. You would just feel as if they would be in the ascendancy somewhat going into that defence.
That just shows Tats down to a T. Like, as a bowler there, you would not be worried about it going past point and 3rd man. You'd be worried about the fielders, but now it's made him change. Looks like he might go short.
Everyone out the leg side is on the boundary. Everyone on the offside is inside the circle, barring 3rd man, and this is a big hit from Johnny Tattersall here. It's a maximum off the last ball of the innings to get Yorkshire up to something like where they wanted to be. 177 is the final score for the loss of 7 wickets, and Tattersall finishes with 14. Dom Bess not out on 5, and very vital, possibly very vital, 16 off the last over there.
Yeah, Tats obviously brilliant, has the touch, has the power as well by the looks of it there, and obviously he'll want to send a message and try and get up that order and stuff like that. He's got a great T20 record. He hasn't played many games, but he's one of them players that you can all bash and crash, but he has that elegant touch where he hits it in, like I say, unusual places.
Those runs are absolutely invaluable. The 4 from Dom Bess, and then the 4 and the 6 and the final 2 deliveries from Johnny Tattersall just completely changes the makeup of that innings. And we spoke about the momentum, didn't we, coming into the ascendancy, going into the interval, Matt. But just a word on Johnny Tattersall as well. So much made about the fact that Nicholas Pooran was coming in, and Tats would probably take a step back from his position. But to even hit that final ball for 6 just shows how much his game's developed. And I can't stress that enough, how valuable those will be for this run total that they've put on the board.
No, definitely. I think that is a big boundary. Like, we can see it really well up here, bird's eye view kind of, and that is a big hit. That could be 80 metres, that 85 metres, and you don't usually.
Welcome back then from Emerald Headingley, where the players are making their way back out onto the field. And we await the Worcestershire Rapids opening batsmen, who we assume are going to be Ricky Vessels and Martin Guptill. And they will need to chase, or need to score 178 to win this contest. It is 177 for 7 that Yorkshire put on the board in their 20 overs, with Adam Lythe's 68 and Tom Kohler-Cadmore's 40. The feature in a superb opening partnership. Maybe not as many on the board as at one stage we thought or hoped there might be from a Yorkshire point of view, but in the end, as we've said a few times in our first half call, the pitch maybe looks like it is around about a par score. This, I think it'll certainly take a little bit of getting if Yorkshire can bowl it reasonably well. And just looking around the field to see what's going on. Dwan Olivier, who we thought was not in the starting lineup from what we said earlier on, not on the list that we were given, is out there at mid-off at the moment. And it is Ricky Vessels and Martin Guptill, the two Worcestershire openers, and David Willey will take the new ball for Yorkshire from the Emerald stand end then. Jamie Rayner and Matthew Fisher alongside. Busy keeping up to date with all their social media and the many requests for their social evenings, no doubt, to come, as David Willey is in for the first ball of this Worcester response then. Vessels plays it out into the offside and there's no run.
Yeah, great for Yorkshire to be opening up with the quality and experience of Dave Willey in these situations. One thing that really struck me in that defeat to Lancashire last week was the intensity and the hunger from Dave Willey to succeed in the team, not only personally but as a team as well. That run out in particular, he was so pumped up and ready for it. He'll be wanting to get a result tonight for Yorkshire.
Here's Willey again then.
He always is, Dave.
It's a beautiful shot from Ricky Vessels, gets it away between the two men inside the circle on the offside, and will pick up 4 runs.
Yeah, he's a great lad to have around the team and quite good mates with Dave, and he sets really good examples on and off the field. And I know I was doing a bit of bowling before the game, and he couldn't wait for tonight. He loves putting on the Yorkshire Rose, and he loves trying to get points and wins for Yorkshire, and he's just one of them that he puts his heart and soul, and you can see that.
You can tell us a bit more about him as a character after this next delivery, because he's in again over the wicket, and that's another delightful shot from Vessels. He's got it away between the men at backward point and third man, who are both inside the circle, and that'll be 4 more, so 8 without loss, all 8 of them so far going to Vessels. David Willey then, I mean, doing this job for the first time this season, and given the fact that he's not always around, haven't seen him and got to know him as well as players like yourself yet, quite relatively quiet, I always think.
Yeah, he's quiet. He's grumpy at times, but he's it's just because he's so focused on his practice and his playing that he probably lacks time for others when he's at cricket. But he's great to be around. I know I've quite a few coffees with him, and he's great to learn off for me as a younger player. And he kind of gravitates towards the younger lads, and that's great for us to have someone like him who's played as many games as he is to be that role model for us. And we help each other out. He helps me, and I think I help him at times as well, so it's a great partnership that we have.
Next ball was a dot, so 4 gone in this first over of Worcester's response, and this next one is another decent delivery from David Willey, up there and worked to leg by Vessels, put straight to the man Adam Lythe, who's there inside the circle at mid-on, no run.
I think he, from a bowler's point of view, I think he looked for a little bit of swing at the start in the first 3 balls. That's probably why the widths that it didn't swing back, and now he's corrected that, and don't look like there's any swing, Jonathan, to you, does there? So I think he's corrected that and tried to bowl a little bit tighter with his line.
Here he comes again. Yeah, doesn't appear to be any
great length,
any obvious swing. That's a good length delivery, straight, pushed out into the offside. So good start from Worcester with 8 on the board. Could have been worse from a Yorkshire point of view, so good comeback from David Willey. 19 left, and they're 8 without loss.
I think it shouldn't be understated the importance of early wickets in this run defence from a Yorkshire perspective. You know, Ricky Vessels, Martin Vessels, even Martin Guptill, I should even say, names up Martin Guptill and Vessels at the crease. They have been such a strong point for Worcestershire, and it will be key for Yorkshire to get early wickets if they're to try and rein in this this run chase from, you know, the defending T20 champions. Let's not forget.
So Yorkshire going to start here with Dom Bess at the pavilion end. That's an obvious move.
Interesting. I think obviously Guptill's on strike. I think they maybe think seams one of his strengths, and they've gone with spin. Looks like it might have gripped in the first innings, so might be trying it early to see what spin Dom can get out of it.
First ball then is whipped to David Willey, mid-wicket, and he will pick up a single there. Dom Bess, who of course is on a 10-match loan spell for T20 for Yorkshire, jumped at the chance to come back and have a go in this form of cricket because he wasn't going to get a go with Somerset. Sometimes it's quite easy to forget these things after a few games when somebody feels like they're already part of the furniture, but Dom Bess, a time this season, is in around the wickets to the right-handed Vessels, who gets it away to Harry Brook in the covers, but there's no run. Speaking of loanees, don't forget that news tonight as well if you haven't already heard it. Kesh Maharaj, successful spell of course in 4-day cricket just a short while ago with Yorkshire, as its next best ball sees an inside edge past Johnny Tattersall behind the stumps, and that's a chase on down to fine leg which has not been won by the fielder. The ball is the winner. It is 4 runs, and it was a false stroke from Vessels, but nonetheless they're going to go on to 13 without loss. He's 12, Guptill on 1. As I was saying, back for his second spell on loan, Kesh Maharaj, who will play both the next couple of red ball games at Scarborough and at Taunton. He'll also play in the team games that occurred during that period, which is great news from a Yorkshire point of view. Vessels gets a single and calls for a new bat here, and he's moved on to 13. Worcester on to 14.
Yeah, started nicely as well, similar to us, not as slow as us, but just look like they're assessing the pitch and not taking too many risks yet, just waiting for bad deliveries.
Here's Bess again, it's full, open face, it's driven into the offside. Good piece of fielding by Gary Balance, and they don't get a single, they remain staying put. DT behind us as well. DT is on the balcony. We have a regal visit from the man himself as Bess is in again. That's a lovely shot from Martin Guptill. Gets it wide of Adam Lyth, who's inside the circle at mid-on, and picks up another 4 for Worcester.
Adam Lyth, one of the best fielders out there on the pitch between both sides. He'll be disappointed that that one got through him. It went underneath him as he dived down to his right to try and stop the ball from going for 4. We spoke about the fielding and the importance of fielding in the Worcestershire first innings bowling, and the same applies for Yorkshire. It's things like that, it's moments like that that come to be a massive difference towards the end of a run chase. It's
that momentum, isn't it? Again, like if he'd have stopped that, he'll be disappointed there, Lyth. You saw it with the World Cup stats when they had like for the inner ring and outer ring how many runs the fielders had stopped. He'll be disappointed there, but he does usually save us a lot of runs, does Lyth, but yeah, he'll be disappointed with that, and hopefully that doesn't cost us at the end of the night.
So 5 to Guptill, 13 Vessels, 18 without loss after 2. So Yorkshire 15 without loss in that early stage of competition. It's going to be David Willey continuing from the Emerald stand end of the ground. Okay, DT, you well? DT's well, still smarting of course from an Irish point of view with what happened last week at Lord's, as this is a superb shot down the ground from Vessels off the first ball of David Willey's over, lofted over the back of the bowler's head, and he will pick up 4 more. So Worcester starting in promising fashion, the champions here. They're 22 without loss after just 13 deliveries. No
surprise there from Worcestershire that they've come out strong and will look to apply the pressure in this run chase to the Yorkshire bowling attack as Dave Willey comes in to respond to that boundary.
Here he is over the wicket. That's a nice shot from Vessels again lays his bat on it, but Patterson is inside the circle and will do the fielding at third man. Steve Patterson, an important job for him to do tonight, but with the ball as well, Matthew Fisher.
Yeah, no, we all know what Steve can do at the death. He backs his Yorkers every single ball, and he'll change it depending on the dimensions of the field. He'll either go straight Yorkers or wide Yorkers, so looking forward to seeing him at the death. Vessels, great T20 player, and it's someone to get out early.
Here's Willie again, and short of length, leg side-ish as well. Vessels gets a connection on it and drops it into the leg side for a single, taking him on to 18-23 without loss. Not managed to speak to Pato in recent times. He's obviously been rested for a few matches. Has enjoyed his rest, feeling fit and firing, ready to go.
Yeah, I think he went to London for a few days, but I think it was when it was very hot and he had the kids, so I think he actually found it a bit more of a stress than a holiday. So no, he's back and he's ready, and he's been in the gym, and he's been running and he's been practicing, and he's eager to get out there and captain Yorkshire in all formats. So great to see him out there.
More stressful than a holiday, but less stressful than captaining you in his team. Here's a joke, obviously. Willie is in, and that's chopped back with a point by Martin Guptill. No run.
Yeah,
are you a bit of a handful as a player?
Yeah, easy, Jonathan. Easy. Do what I'm told.
Yeah.
But when I get told, I don't give anyone a hard time. So you should know that already. Maybe you that I only give a hard time to.
Yeah, probably. That's about my lot. 23 without loss.
I think if we can keep them to under 8 and over in the power play, I think that's a pretty decent job. I think it looks the easiest time to bat in the power play when the ball's hard. Do you agree?
Most definitely, yeah. I mean, you said that about Dave Willey and the fact that he enjoys coming out when the ball's hard, and there's absolutely no doubt about it that Martin Guptill, who's already got a big score in this competition, will look to try and target that. I'm just trying to think whether or not New Zealand played at Headingley in the Cricket World Cup. I don't think they did, actually.
Not sure.
No, they didn't. So that previous delivery was a dot ball. Guptill still on strike, and here is David Willey to Martin Guptill, who drops it again into that backward point region. Harry Brook round to field. Good over from David Willey. He's gone for 13 from 2, and with 10 off the 1 from Dominic Best so far. 3 gone. Worcester 23 without loss in response to Yorkshire's 177 for 7.
Yeah, I think if we can have another tight over here, I think we might see a wicket in the next couple of overs. That would just good pressure there by Dave, and if you can build an over, a couple of overs of pressure in T20, things do happen. We talk about the 3 maidens in Championship cricket get you a wicket. I reckon two overs under 5 runs and over, and it gets you a wicket, and hopefully Duan can bowl a tight over here. If not, he's a wicket taker anyway. He can get it without the pressure, so if he can build the pressure, if not take a wicket, then that'll be massive in the context of the game.
You do feel as if Dave Willey's pulled it back somewhat, and again we talk about momentum, that just that run rate creeping under 8, albeit only after 3 overs.
Ollie Fear then into the attack from the pavilion end, and wonder what length he was going to bowl. Well, he's gone short first up, and that is just effortlessly lofted away backward of point by Ricky Vessels for 4, first ball of the lot. And when you want to start well, you're straight on the back foot with that boundary.
Yeah, I think that shows the pace that he bowls at. He just literally put his bat on that, and it's flown over the point fielder, and it shows how tough bowling is in T20 cricket for fast bowlers.
Here he is again. This time he goes fuller, and it's turned backward off square, where Harry Brook will come in from the boundary. And
you feel like better length to be bowling with the pace, as you say there, that Duan can offer from a Yorkshire perspective. Getting it up there, using the ball coming underneath the eye line. I mean, I'm no extraordinaire when it comes to batting, but I know that it's difficult, isn't it, when it's up in the block holes. And it's interesting listening to the tele-commentary back of the Lancs game last week, just to hear what their opinions on as a ball is when it comes to red ball. But has he got the qualities within T20 cricket, Matt?
Yeah, definitely. I think
he's gone short. This
good
next
hard
delivery.
length, no width. I think his T20 record in South Africa is really good. I think obviously the pitches are a little bit different, they're a bit quicker. He can really use his pace and bounce. I think in England the wickets are a lot slower, and he maybe doesn't come into his own on them slow wickets, but he's someone that you need because he can take a wicket with any ball. So, yeah, he'll be looking to try and hit one on the head as well at some point.
Here he is
There we
again,
go.
and he's gone short. He's going to get a wicket
Yes.
here. He's got a wicket. Backward of square. He went short, and it was a mistimed pull shot. And that is the end of Martin Guptill, who's a big wicket from a Yorkshire point of view. 28 for 1. Guptill gone for 5.
I'm going to start calling it Mystic Matt this evening, because you've called quite a few deliveries throughout this game, and it happened once again there. Dwan Olivier using that pace, getting that ball short, getting it up, but this time it was tighter, wasn't it? It was more towards the body of Martin Guptill, and you felt as if it came up on him somewhat. He was cramped for room and ballooned the ball up, and an easy catch in relation really for Steve Patterson. And yeah, Dwan Olivier will be absolutely made up with that wicket, because it'll relieve some pressure from his shoulders, I imagine.
That's it. I think like in this game, usually a lot of the wickets are not down to bowler's skill that much. It's usually caught on the edge or whatever, and I think there he actually got him out, and you don't get many wickets like that in T20. That's why you have him in your team, because he can actually get people out.
So 1 for 5 off 4, having seen his first ball go for 4. Dwan Olivier, as Jamie rightly called it, caught just inside the circle at short fine leg. Completely mistimed pull shot by Guptill, and it was skipper Steve Patterson who did the catching. Here is Olivier in again, but he's gone short and wide down the leg side, and that's flown over both the heads of Ricky Vessels and Johnny Tattersall, and that's going to cost Yorkshire 5 runs. So for all the good work,
I think you've seen both sides of what that style of bowling can do, and a similar occasion happened in the Lancashire game as well. It wasn't as short, but it did go wide of the keeper. That game, Nicholas Poor, and this time Johnny Tattersall behind the. You've seen there. That's the difference. That just a little bit of change in line can cost you.
Here he is again. He's gone way down the leg side again. Here, that's a wide in Test match cricket, even let alone in T20 cricket. Looked like he completely let that one go all wrong, wouldn't it?
Looked like he caught his pocket there on the way through, but
that was indicating, yeah.
I think it is so important. It's been disappointing here that when you do get a wicket, you build the pressure on the people that are in, and we haven't done that there, and it's something that at the end of the game you might be looking at.
34 for 1. This time he goes outside off stump, and it's an attempt at a loft from Vessels, who can't get bat on it. So damage limitation. 1 for 11 now from his 5 deliveries, and 1 ball left in the 4th. 34 for 1.
There's definitely a premeditated shot there from Vessels, who was looking to try and ramp it, lift it, however you want to say it, over fine leg who's up.
So Olivier pushes off, and he comes in again, and this is just short of a length and pushed into the onside by Lythe Fields. So an over of bit of a licorice all sorts over there really from Dwan Olivier, but he's picked up a wicket, importantly. 1 for 11 from his first over.
Yeah, obviously we'd take the wicket, but obviously the follow-up wasn't brilliant from Dwan, but he'd be disappointed. I think looking at the pitch, I think Tomo, the likes of Tomo, Pato and Brez, I think they can really hold the length here. I think it's not maybe a pitch for the quickies, it's more of a pitch to change your pace, and as we showed, Barnard, Pat Brown, they were probably most effective, Darryl Mitchell, so I think Steve will prove difficult to hit, hopefully, here.
It's a very good point that you make, actually, as Steve Patterson comes into the attack for Yorkshire, is the variety that is at the Vikings dispense here in this innings. The fact that they've got the experience of Steve Patterson and Tim Bresnan as well, throw into the mix Don Bess. They've got a lot of variation to contest with here.
Steve Patterson comes in then, and this is off the hip. Nicely played as well by Callum Ferguson, the new batsman. Good piece of fielding just inside the circle down at short fine leg by Tim Bresnan. Yeah, he went down in instalments. Yeah. Episode 3, he picked the ball up, and it was back in the gloves about halfway through the adverts in episode 5. That.
Hey, we shouldn't laugh. I mean, who are we to laugh?
He did very well there, to be fair to him.
He did.
But 45 in a T20 is usually where your weakest fielder is, and I'm sure Brezzy will be a little bit dented of confidence being at 45.
35 for 1. as Patterson's in again, and this off the hip once more of Vessels. Bresnan has an easier piece of fielding to do this time, and in fact it is literally off the hip of Vessels because it's a leg by. So 23 to him still, 1 to Ferguson, 36 for 1.
That's what Steve will try and do, is just trying to hit the hip, not give him any width at all. He'd probably rather see the 4 past him than go through the offside. That's what he'll be thinking. So yeah, he'll be trying to tuck him up onto leg stump.
Here he comes again, Steve Patterson, that shuffling run-up style he's got. Good delivery. He's appealing for AW. Might have been just a little bit high. I'm guessing, as we're saying, he's aiming for the hip. But it was a good ball. They've got a leg by from it. But a good start to his spell so far.
Yeah, no, he'll be asking Midders why that's not out. Obviously, be good friends. Midders played here in the second year of the championship win, so all the boys know him pretty well. He'll be getting into his ear. But did look a bit high.
Did look a bit high. Just looking now at how Steve Patterson approaches this, it'll be so key for Yorkshire to get out Ricky Vessels, wouldn't it?
Who is on strike facing Patterson now. He's gone leg side though, trying to follow the batsman. Just got it wrong this time. The Yorkshire skipper is a little bit too wide down leg side, and it is signalled as such by James Middlebrook. I
don't know what you think, Matt, and this is personally my opinion, but I think it's really tough on bowlers sometimes when you see a batsman move his leg out of the way. He moves down towards the leg side to give himself some room, and you're quite within your own right, aren't you, to follow the bowler, to then award a wide because of that.
Yeah, he's obviously followed him, and that's what Steve does so well. He makes batters kind of do stuff before he's bowled it, and he just does follow him. And again there, like as a bowler, you kind of you'd rather bowl a wide than give him the wits to hit a 4, if you know what I mean. So he'll still be fairly happy with that, and it keeps the pressure on.
He got it almost right, ready for the next ball, and he's just been worked off the hip down to fine leg for a single, and he's in again here to Ferguson, who's 1, but make that 5 now because he's lofted that above Adam Lyth, who's inside the circle at mid-on and will pick up a boundary. So singles were fine, but stick the boundary on the end of it and you're starting to get up to run rate again. It makes it a more comfortable over for the opposition.
Again, like, that's power play cricket for you there. Like, to me, Pato's kind of nailed his skill there, and he's hit a good length ball over the top, so credit to the batsman. It's just limiting the damage in this power play.
So 43 for 1, last ball of the 5th, and this is a good response from Patterson. That's hit the batsman, who can't get any bat on it, and drops down by his feet. End of the over then, that was a dot. 5 gone, 43 for 1 Worcester. Yorkshire at this stage were 47 without loss. So
I don't think that Steve Patterson will mind that over too much, given the fact that the 4 was given, because you say there, Matt, he hit a length and it was a good shot in the end, but Adam Lyth, who was at long on, looked somewhat interested at one point. It wasn't a cleanly struck ball, and it could have quite easily been a catch if the power play overs weren't in play. But Yorkshire will feel, given the start that they've made inside the power play overs, 43 for 1 Worcestershire Rapids, that they'll fancy themselves after that.
I think, yeah, if we can limit them to 50 in the power play with 1 or 2 wickets, I think we'll be fairly happy. It keeps the run rate up and big boundaries later on.
And Jordan Thompson into the attack at the pavilion end, and
Great
he's
start.
worked into the leg side for a single. First ball, David Willey round to do the fielding. So Vessels 25, 44 for 1. DT turned photographer this evening. Come and say hello, DT.
Hello.
There we go. DT, you know, Dave Townsend, third voice of many BBC broadcasts and regular sidekick of mine on air. Good to have him with us on the balcony tonight.
Full tea.
He's just come for a free tea once again. Probably a craft beer or a real ale or whatever it is he calls it as well. But here's Jordan Thompson meanwhile. Good delivery. Second ball from Jordan Thompson gets inside the bat of Ferguson through to Johnny Tattersall. No run.
One thing I really liked about that delivery as well from Jordan Thompson, not only did he beat the inside of the bat, but he stood there, he stood strong, and he looked right at Ferguson to suggest, go on, then try again. There's a real fight from Jordan Thompson when he bowls.
Yeah, he's just a competitor. He's just very much a real tenacious, competitive character. Changing the field, Don Best brought up from backward square leg. David Willey sent out to long on. He's going to have to run in, and actually Tim Bresnan has come right round from mid-off to field that at mid-on. Tremendous pace from Tim Bresnan there. He was like...
Rapid.
He's definitely heard you, Matt.
Absolutely rapid.
Yeah,
and
no,
they
rapid.
picked up a single, couldn't cut that out, so I think he needs to work on it a little bit more. I mean, come on, if you can't cut out a single at mid-on from mid-off, you know...
He's had a bit of slack from us three tonight, hasn't he?
One thing that really impressed me last week was the variations from Jordan Thompson and how well he hid that slower ball.
Here he is again. That's following the batsman. Good piece of bowling once more. Cut to point, and there's no run. So 45 for 1. It's been a good start so far. Just 2 off Jordan Thompson's first 4 deliveries. David Willey at this point, I always think he looks like he's been really helpful, David Willey. He's often standing around there, drying the ball, having a chat with whoever's bowling. Looks as though Jordan Thompson appreciates what one of the senior pros is saying. He's in again, right arm over.
Great skill.
This is pulled backward of square. Harry Brookfields, they get a single.
This is an over in the game where it builds the pressure, and you can see something might happen in the next 3 to 6 balls, and hopefully with the pressure this over you might see another wicket in the next over. But it's great to see how for one player he's got square leg out, he's brought him up. That must be a plan before the game, what they've tried to do. Great fielding by Gary and Bessie there, but yeah, it looks like he's got a clear plan to each individual batter, which is really proactive in T20. You can't really be reactive, and being proactive and getting ahead of the game and having a plan for certain batter is good.
So a really good start from Jordan Thompson. I think it was just 4 off the over. They've taken the board down for the minute. It was a single off the last ball, just
47 I think
to point, so 47 for the loss of 1 wicket, and that will help. And if Steve Patterson can now back this up here with another good one from the Emerald stand end, then Yorkshire are going to start to crank up the pressure a little bit, might buy a wicket or 2 in the process then.
That for me so far is probably the over of the innings in terms from a bowling perspective. Final over of a power play, to concede 4 from it is a fantastic effort from Jordan Thompson.
So Patterson in and cut out into the offside where Harry Brook does the fielding. Ferguson on to 8, 48 for 1.
I think from what we could see here, like, there was what made it so good. He didn't miss wide. He was very, very tight to the stumps. When he bowled his slower ball again, it was tight and it was into the wicket. It wasn't floaty full. It wasn't too short where it sat up. So for there, Tomo, I think he nailed every 6 balls that he bowled, and great for him to do that. Hopefully Steve can do the same this over.
Here is Patterson though. He's been lofted over the top of long off all the way for a maximum there. That is a big, big blow from Ricky Vessels, and brings him 6. And so just redressing the balance, the balance a little bit in the favour of the visitors, who've moved past 50 now. 54 for 1. Vessels, very, very good. 32 here so far. He's on strike again to the Yorkshire skipper, who's in, and this time just makes an adjustment down the leg side, and therefore James Middlebrook signals that is another run to the Worcester total and a wide.
The wicket of Ricky Vessels here is key for Yorkshire to contain this run chase. His experience, his class, his quality as well. And we saw that in the 6 that's just been hit previously.
So 55 for 1, Patterson in, and that's been picked up from a good length down the leg side and lofted for a beautiful 6. That is a tremendous stroke from Ricky Vessels, and it's gone towards the back of the bottom tier of the northeast stand. Can't argue with that.
Clean striking, clean hitting, and we just draw again on that quality that Vessels brings to the Worcestershire attack, and marginally leg side from Steve Patterson, which allowed Vessels to free his arms and hit it to backward of square.
Patterson again over the wicket. This is full of length and worked square on the leg side. They're going to be settling for a single here. Jordan Thompson around to do the fielding. So he's on to 39 now, Vessels, and that super over from Jordan Thompson in the last over. Think about how much we're talking that one up. Well, this over has now gone for, well, at least 2 maximums plus a couple of other runs. Wide's been thrown in there. It just takes the shine off that previous over somehow, doesn't it?
Frustrating very much as Patterson comes once again.
And that is lofted into the onside, and Adam Lyth, who's at long on, can't get round. That's a good piece of placement there from Callum Ferguson. He's got it wide of long on and will pick up 4 more, so this is proving to be an expensive over now from Yorkshire's skipper.
Yeah, I think it showed with the wicket of Duan and then the 5 wides, and then this after a good over. It's certain things in T20 which you can't afford to do, and Steve's missed his length a little bit full with both 6s, and it's put him under pressure.
And 19 off it so far, make that 20 because the last ball's been cut backward a point. Harry Brook round to field and keep them to 1. So end of that over then, from 47 for 1 to 67 for 1 in one fell swoop. Vessels 39, Ferguson 13, and 13 overs remaining. 111 off 13 with 9 wickets in the 10. At this stage, if you're having a fiver, you're back in Worcestershire, surely.
Worcestershire 100% are in the ascendancy here. They run rate from their point is up to 9.6. That required run rate about 8.4 now. So Worcestershire well in advance of meeting that required run rate and getting over the line. The key here, Matt, I imagine now for Yorkshire is to get wickets. Is what's going to get them to win this game as the off spin of Don Best comes into the attack to probably take a little bit of pace off the ball, I imagine.
Yeah, like as we spoke about our game plan as a batting unit, you kind of look at theirs and you see what kind of game plan they go at. And as champions in the last game, it looked like they kind of set it up for your Ross Whiteleys, for your Wayne Parnell, for Ed Barnard. And I think it's important that we try and get wickets so that they have to come in and try and build an innings, and they're under pressure when they come in rather than being able to go from ball 1. So that's just something that we need to be wary of, and trying to get a wicket taker, whether it's bringing Duan back to try and get a couple of wickets in an over, or they look like they're trying to take the pace off. But yeah, we need to build a few dots and get wickets more than anything now, and stop their game plan kind of thing.
2 balls into the 8th then, and we've had a single so far from Ferguson. That wasn't far away from the outstretched arm of Tom Kohler-Cadmo, who's in there at extra cover, but it's going to be a single to Vessels, who's now on to 40. 69 for 1, and if I'm sure they'd want either wicket here, but if they could get one, now he's up to 40 and going well. Ricky Vessels would be the nominated man, but it's Ferguson on strike. He's going to get a single down to short third man. Good running between the wickets again, because although 2 men converged on that in the field and there's only 10 metres between them, he split the gap, and so nobody could pick it up cleanly and enabled his partner to get through. Vessels is that partner, and he's on strike and now working it up to long on. Don Best tries to chase the ball down himself. Adam Lyth comes in and fields 71 for 1.
And what that over of 20 does for Worcestershire is it gives them that opportunity to perform game management, so they can now, when the pace is taken off the ball in the form of Don Best, they can knock it around, they can pick the 1s, the 2s, keep the scoreboard ticking over and not feel that required run rate pressure.
Best strays down the leg side, and inevitably, is it going to be a wide? Well, Nick Cook just checks for some reason, and then, having taunted the Yorkshire players with another single to the total.
The atmosphere in Headingley is just somewhat flattened after that loose over.
So here's Bess again, turned out into the deep into the leg side, where David Willey is round to field, and 73 for 1. Ferguson on to 16 at the end of that over. Vessels 41, 12 to go. They're 73 for 1.
I just want to ask Matt, in terms of looking at the scoreboard, it's for everyone to see. You can see it as players as well. You look at the run rate, you look at the required run rate. As a bowler, do you feel the pressure coming into the final overs? Definitely.
I think it's one of the toughest times to bowl in any cricket, and it's about keeping calm and clear in your own mind where you want to get hit. And certain players, they have certain strengths, like we were talking about Brezzi's hitting areas earlier. You just got to try and be one step ahead before the game's starting, knowing where batsmen like to hit it, knowing whether they scoop, whether they reverse sweep for a spinner. I know Josh Poison, who's not out tonight, he's so specific on how batters play and whether they play sweeps and reverse sweeps, because
Jordan Thompson back into the attack at the Emerald stand end. He's been lofted for 6, pulled for 6 into the foot of the east stand. First ball just over the top of the outstretched arms of Dwan Olivier. So having bowled that cracking over for 4, he's gone for more than that off the first ball of his next over, and Worcester motoring along now, 79 for 1.
Yeah, 6 off the first ball for Jordan Thompson, and Worcestershire applying the pressure early doors to the young bowler.
Here he is again, Ferguson it was, with the maximum, and he's pushed that one deep into the offside. They're going to come back for a second here, and that pressure they've put on Dom Bess by turning for the second run has caused him to fumble, and they've got back comfortably for it in the end. 81 for 1, 24 for Ferguson now. So pressure on Yorkshire at the moment. Desperately need a wicket just to sort of hold that momentum for the moment that the Worcester batsmen have got, and could be a chance here. It's short of David out there on the mid-wicket boundary, so they'll get through for one more. 25 Ferguson, 82 for 1.
Slow ball there from Jordan Thompson, and wasn't all got there by Ferguson, and it just didn't quite reach David Willey, who's out at deep mid-wicket. Made good ground to stop the ball going for 4.
Here's Thompson again over the wicket, and this is a good Yorker attempt here, and unlucky for Jordan Thompson. Now there's an attempted run out here. Johnny Tallis will flick the ball onto the stumps. They've appealed, not given by Nick Cook, who's at square leg, and disappointment in the faces and the body language of the Yorkshire team. Just having a look at the
it's one of them where
replay.
If you were on Sky there, it would have been gone up, and it's tough to give probably in a game like this, but he's got to be on it there.
That was mightily close, mightily close. You would have definitely appreciated the telly umpire there in that situation.
Good delivery it was from Jordan Thompson, but he got through for a single, and that brings Ferguson back on strike, who's played this next shot through the onside almost one-handed. Willie Fields, and they get through for one more. So what a partnership this is for Worcester. 56 between the pair of them so far. Not even at the halfway stage in the Worcester response to Yorkshire's 177 for 7. They're 84 for 1, needing 94 more to win. Last ball of the 9th over. Thompson in, short, pulled. Is it going to be 6? Oh, you bet your bottom dollar it is. It's half a dozen rows back into the east stand, and that is 6 runs from the bat there of Ricky Vessels, who is storming towards his half-century. 48 not out, 90 for 1.
It's where we talk about, like, in the first over he nailed his skill, and there that just was a bit short, sat up, and that's where in this game you've got to get your skill right, like, otherwise you're going to go the distance. And the lads do hard in practice to try and do that. It's just maybe the pressure's getting to him here.
Well, 37 to come from the last 37 to come from I was going to say the last 2 overs, and of course Dom Bess was in the middle of that, but Jordan Thompson's figures there, 4 from 1 over, now 21 from 2, just paints the picture really about how this game's getting away from the Yorkshire Vikings currently. You just feel, don't you, that they need a wicket to break this partnership, to stem that momentum.
The last 2 overs from the Emerald stand end have cost Yorkshire 37 runs.
Yeah. I think in T20 you want your bad overs to go for like 12, 13 rather than your 20s and your 18s, and they could be the little things that win you the game. But it's important that every ball you're on it, and if you don't get it right a ball or 2, then fair enough, that's what happens in this game, but it's about getting more right than wrong.
Not quite a last roll of dice yet by any stretch, but Adam Lyther's been brought into the attack. His first ball went for a single to Ferguson. His second ball is another leg side wide, and again that's something that the Vikings would want to cut out. There's been a few now that have strayed down the leg side today. The wide count must be getting on for half dozen or more. This next ball is fuller, and an attempted sweep from Vessels is missed. Just looking at the extras is 12. Haven't got specific wide count on the board at this moment in time, but they're past the halfway point with more than half the innings to go here, Worcester, and this one taken on the full by Vessels, who gets plenty on it up to long on. Willie Fields, they get through for one more, so he's one shy of a half-century, Ricky Vessels. Ferguson back on strike, 27, 93 for 1, and 3 balls left in this, the 10th over of the Worcester innings. Lythe again, slow, he's got a wicket. He's got the wicket of Callum Ferguson, who's just chipped it there to, looks like Dom Bess, I think, at a point, usually standing there anyway. Either way, it's a wicket. It's a second wicket for Worcestershire. They're 93 for 2.
Yeah, could that be the wicket that just gets Yorkshire back into this game? We said, didn't we, that they needed to end this partnership between Ferguson and Vessels. It's Ferguson who falls. Last roll of a dice, you could say, maybe in the form of Adam Lyth coming on to bowl Matt Fisher, but it's got Yorkshire a wicket, it's got them a breakthrough. We talk about momentum. It might just try and get Yorkshire back up in Headingley.
Yeah, I think obviously spin this end for right-handers, it's tough because it is a really big boundary towards the leg side. I think they'll be trying to get one or two out of Lythian, like trying to get that wicket there so that it gives you more options at the death. But I think it's really interesting that they've now brought a left-hander in, similar to what we were doing, and this kind of negates Lythy being on. If he can get hold of them, it should be an easy 6 towards the shorter leg side boundary.
Well, you're quite right, because everyone out on the leg side has now dropped back as Wayne Parnell makes his way to the crease, the left-hand batsman. And does this leave Adam Lyth somewhat vulnerable with 2 balls remaining of his over?
Potentially, but if they lose another wicket, it puts them under more pressure. Good start there.
Yeah, single to Parnell first up, 94 for 2.
It might be too early to say, but it seems like somewhat a stroke of genius from Steve Patterson to bring Adam Lyth on, conceding 4 runs in his first over and picking up the wicket as well.
Here's Lyth again, and that's again a leg side wide to Ricky Vessels. So 95 for 2. Couple of leg side wides from Adam Lyth, who's just admonishing himself for that. The catcher, by the way, wasn't Don Bess, it was of course Gary Balance. Not easy when you're front on with these guys sometimes. And next ball then is worked to leg by Vessels, who's helped himself to a very good 50. Halfway through, he's made 50 in even time, and it's 96 for 2.
Yeah, I think don't rule Yorkshire out yet. It is tough to chase in any form of cricket, and over 8 and over, we try and bring that up to 9s and 10s, and it does put the pressure on. But we know Worcestershire have got great finishers in their lineup with Whiteley and Barnard, and Cox as well. Cox played that brilliant innings on finals day last year, but like I said, it's tough pressure chasing, and if you can get another couple of wickets in the next couple of overs, get that run rate up to 10s, and it will be tough to chase.
Good evening to you, Lily, who's emailed in, wishes you all best for injury. And Dwan Olivier back into the attack at the Emerald stand end to bowl to Vessels, set on 50 catch. And lofts this one. It's a potential catch for Adam Lyth, but he needed to be on several pairs of step ladders in the end to get it, because it's been lofted over him about 3 rows back into the main stand, the Emerald stand, for 6.
Just good batting, really. That's all you can say in that situation. Ricky Vessels there, picking the length of Dwan Olivier early doors, using the pace on the ball, and the ball flying over the long on boundary all the way for 6. And you really feel that Ricky Vessels, we need that wicket for Yorkshire to get into this.
And he's got this next one away as well through square on the leg side. Jordan Thompson got round to field it and then lost it after diving, and he's knocked it over the boundary himself. So 10 off the first 2 in this Dwan Olivier over. The comparison at halfway, by the way, folks, Yorkshire were 88 without loss after 10. Worcester 96 for 2, as we said. Make that 106 for 2 now very quickly. Yorkshire were not 106 until nearly the end of the 12th over. That's a couple of overs swing here.
And it was the final 10 overs that really slowed down for Yorkshire as well, Doige.
So just short of a length and pulled this time in front of square. David Willifield's at mid-wicket. Vessels onto 60. Great knock as far as Worcester are concerned here, 106 for 2.
Just on the point of Dwan Olivier, and we spoke, didn't we, about his qualities as a red ball bowler earlier on, Matt, but in terms of variations in the shorter format, is it something that you've seen from him when you've been training, when you've been netting?
I haven't been around practice that much with my injuries, but I know that he does like to use his weapon, which is his pace, and like I said about English wickets, they tend to be a little bit slower, but he will be disappointed in his execution tonight, I think. But yeah, it's a tricky one tonight. I think we've been very sloppy in the field, which has been disappointing. We obviously didn't capitalise on that great start that we've had, so we'll be very disappointed in that, and hopefully we can get a couple of wickets, but it's becoming too late.
It's important to note that they are still in this contest, Yorkshire. You know, it still is within reach, and you know, a few quick wickets, as you say, Matt, and it could be a different story. It's just the momentum and how Ricky Vessels has been so destructive against some of the Yorkshire bowling attack.
A single off Ricky Vessels earlier in the over. That was a dot, followed then by this latest delivery off the hip of Parnell, but off his hip, not his bat, has been dropped into the leg side, and they've got a leg by. So he's on one. Vessels 61, 108 for 2. We've got one ball left in the 11th over here, and more and more people advance along the balconies. A cost of thousands up here, my son. Cost of thousands.
I wondered when it had come, the accents. I wondered when it had started. How long has it been?
So there's more and more people on this balcony. There's a cost of thousands up here, my son.
Is that meant to be dealt by?
Yeah. I tell you, it can't have been that bad if you guessed it. Oliver in, and that is pushed out into the offside by Vessels. No run. End of the 11th, 108 for 2 Rodders.
Who are we then?
just make a note of that, folks. 8:45 on an evening game.
You're Rodders and he's Trigger, I think.
Dave.
Or maybe your grand. No, I should be Grandad, shouldn't I?
Your granddad.
Yeah, okay. All right, son. So 108 for 2 anyway. 9 left. 70 needed off 54 balls. Not impossible from a Yorkshire point of view, but they'd certainly want again and to just keep chipping away at that wickets column and make batsmen have to start here, wouldn't they?
Yeah, no, definitely. I think Bessie's on now. Again, it's more of a punt, I reckon, this with the left-hander on strike, just to trying to get a wicket. You'll either win or lose the game in these next 2.
It's full from Don Bess, and it's hit out through the covers by Parnell. Left-handed, of course, Wayne Parnell. He's not out on 2 now, 109 for 2. Just a little bit of a lift again in the atmosphere. That just quietens, doesn't it, when the over goes for somewhere in the teens. But there's still hope from Yorkshire fans' perspective here. As I said earlier, decent crowd in. Floodlights have firmly taken over. We've got a bit of pink cloud above from the sunset, as this next delivery from Bess sees a reverse sweep from Vessels, and he played it well. He knew exactly where the fielders were placed once again, and he got it over the men inside the circle, backward a square on the leg side, and picks up 4 more.
Yeah, clever batting there from Ricky Vessels. He's read the situation of the field. Shorter boundary on the offside, and the reverse hit in an unorthodox 45, you could say. Sees the ball go to the boundary for 4, nearly for 6 as well. Yorkshire have got to go for this now. They've got to go for wickets.
Here comes Bess again, floats this one a little more, just held it back a little bit really, and got pulled in front of square where Ollie Fear fields. They get through for 1 more, but of course having picked up that boundary, again just relieves a little bit of any pressure such as there is on the Rapids, and not a whole lot of that just at the moment, you'd have to say. Bess in again, better delivery, an appeal for LBW on Parnell. Looked like it was going comfortably down the leg side, and I think umpire Nick Cook agrees.
I think it's pretty hard for me to watch here. Nothing seems to be going right for us, and it's disappointing, but we just haven't been good enough in my opinion.
So far, still time, 115 for 2. Cricket, we love it because strange things happen at times, so let's see. Parnell back on strike because Vessels pushes a single up to long on, 116 for 2.
Interestingly, what are we now? Approaching the end of the 12th over, as Don Bess comes in to finish that off.
Yep, last ball of the over. Parnell backward of point is Olivier, and there's no run, so 8 to go. 116 for 2. 62 off 48 is the equation.
Very doable from a Worcestershire perspective, you would say, given the fact that Ricky Vessels is well set on 67 at the crease. Wayne Parnell as well, the left-hand, right-hand combination for Worcestershire in their batting partnership. One thing I was going to raise, and interestingly, to the point that we've not yet seen Tim Bresnan with the ball in his hand.
Yeah, interesting really, because I think he can really hold a length in the power play, and yeah, I'm not sure why he hasn't bowled yet, but it's obviously up to the lads on the field, and it's becoming we really need a wicket, and it's just not coming. I think from Worcester here, if they were being clever, they'd kind of take the next 2 overs for 8 with low risk, and you've nearly won the game. So needs a bit of brilliance, whether we bring a fielder up to just try and, I don't know, get another couple of dots in an over, but again that could open up boundary opportunities. So it's looking Worcester's all the way at the minute, but hopefully Tomo can get us a wicket through sloppy play from them.
Single to Vessel's first ball. It is Jordan Thompson at the Emerald stand end, who's gone short and is pulled for a single by Parnell, who moves on to 4. Vessel's 68. Partnership already worth 25, and they're 118 for 2 with 12 overs and 2 deliveries gone in their response to Yorkshire's 177 for 7. Bring Jamie in a moment, but here's Thompson in again, and this is lofted out towards Adam Lyth, who's going to jump once again, but failed to catch the ball, and I mean that because it's disappeared over his head for another maximum for the brilliant Ricky Vessels, as he has been tonight.
This is proving to be an absolutely superb innings from Ricky Vessels at the top of the order. He races on to 74. He's not put a foot wrong in this innings, and he's applying a decent amount of pressure towards the Yorkshire bowling attack as Jordan Thompson comes in to reply to that 6.
And Vessels again trying to split the gap, and successfully splits the gap, I think, between the 2 fielders out there. Brilliant effort from David Willey in the end. Just maybe didn't get quite as much on it as he wanted, Vessels. It would have made the boundary, but David Willey, good chase from mid-wicket, got round to keep them to 2. 76 though to Vessels.
Do you know how many balls this is off, Jonathan? How many balls? You're on Crick Info.
It's usually on the board over there. Let's have a look. Thompson in again, and this next one is a lovely shot once again through extra cover. There's a chase on round the boundary edge, and a beautiful diving stop out there from Dom Bess. They get through for 2 more, but really he's playing like a man in tremendous nick at the moment. He has faced, well, he's on 78 now, isn't he? So they're a little bit behind. I'm going 44 balls. As this next ball again pulled away by Vessels, and he's got 4 more off Jordan Thompson. He just straying a little bit too much down leg side, and just whipped away. Too good. Ricky Vessels at the moment, and he's, well, the way things are going, helping himself to 100.
Clearly he's seeing the ball like a football at the moment, picking the lengths well. That one slightly short of a length from Jordan Thompson, and it felt as if Ricky Vessels had all the time in the world to manoeuvre the ball onto the leg side, into the deep mid-wicket area, and split the fielders to pick up 4. Worcestershire now 132 for 2, needing a further 42 runs for victory. I mean, it's not looking great from a Yorkshire Vikings perspective.
David Willey made 118 between the sides in 2017. No Worcester players ever got a ton in a T20 game against Yorkshire, so Vessels giving himself a very good chance of doing so here. And at the moment, you've got to say, he looks nailed on, doesn't he? He looks untroubled.
I think it's been a great knock.
And here's Lyth in, and that's been smashed away straight over his head into the top tier of the northeast stand. Tremendous blow from Wayne Parnell, and that is another maximum from Worcester. And at the moment, they are sailing towards victory here. 138 for 2. Parnell into double figures. Harry Brook just watched it soar past as Lyth's in again, and this time he's got it away into the offside. A crowd catch for Tom Kohler-Cadmore at cover, but played straight into the Headingley turf.
I think we haven't quite bowled very well either, and not taking it away from Vessel's knock, but it is a bit easier when you do miss your skill, and I think we've done that on more occasions than we've got it right tonight, which is thoroughly disappointing because the lads do work hard in practice, and again it looks like another match that we might have to bounce back from.
So Adam Lyth in once again to Vessels. Parnell got a single, take him on to 11, so 1-9, and just 2 balls left in this, the 14th over. Lyth in again round the wicket. This one pushes through a little bit quicker than some that he's bowled, but Vessels up to the task of working that into the leg side where Bess fields. 1 more. 140 for 2.
I think it looks like Worcester the home team tonight. Like, they've played the conditions so much better in my opinion, and
this next delivery from Lythe, a potential chance for a catch. It was in fact an attempt at a catch from Jordan Thompson. The ball pulled well in front of square by Parnell, and a great effort from Jordan Thompson, who ran in from the boundary last week and then parried one over, but this time round the inside of the east stand boundary, got one hand to it, but it couldn't stop it going for 4.
That would have been one of the catches of the tournament if Jordan Thompson had pulled that off. Making up the ground, as you say, Dorji, going down low to his right, with the ball coming at pace as well, and was just unfortunate in not being able to keep a hold on it at such an awkward angle and an awkward position. But Worcestershire Rapids now needing less than a run of ball to coast to victory.
Any more text from Bertie Kennedy with useful information for us in this second half of the Worcester knock?
I think we need more than useful information at the minute.
144 for 2. Yorkshire at this stage were 117 for 2, so a massive now disparity between the two teams at this stage of the game, as Bess from the Emerald stand end beats Vessels just wide of off stump due to Tattersall no run. So no, nothing really useful from Bertie.
Said good insight, so I'm happy with that.
Here's Bess again, and he's been smashed back down the ground by Vessels once more. Moving towards the 90 mark, is 87 I think now, and you just get the feeling of deflation about the whole event now in the last couple of overs. They've got away here, they're so far in front. It's going to take something miraculous now for the Vikings to come back and win this. 148 for 2. And here's Bess again to Vessels, who's lofted this one away into the leg side. He's got it between the two men who are out in the deep, and he'll pick it up for 91 now to Vessels. 152 for 2.
Matt, you never like to say it, given the fact that you're part of this squad. It's never easy for you to watch on and look at this result, but it does feel like the somewhat despondent figures out there from a Vikings perspective.
No, it obviously hurts me as much as it will.
And here's a wicket. Don Bess has got the wicket of Vessels. He's gone for 91. 9 shy of the first century in T20 cricket for a Worcester player between these sides. And he was caught at long on by Adam Lythe, who's been out there and seen a couple of them drop 3 or 4 rows back over his head. But on this occasion, well, couldn't believe his luck. It dropped straight in the breadbasket. So Vessels gone, caught Lythe, bowled Bess for 91 from 51 deliveries. That is a brilliant knock. Whatever you say about the quality of Yorkshire's bowling, 10 fours, 5 sixes, a strike rate of 178.4, and he's won the game for his team tonight, more or less.
Take nothing away from Ricky Vessels there. It's a fantastic knock, and unlucky to not get the 3 figures that he most certainly deserves after the display he's put on here in front of the Headingley crowd, and he receives a deserved round of applause and appreciation from the home crowd after that innings, Matt.
Sensational knock, and credit to him. Obviously, like I said, I think it's one of them where we've just not quite got it right, and he's capitalised on that and punished us. And it's T20 cricket, and people can play well, but obviously you've got to look at yourselves in the mirror and see what we can do better next time. That's all you can do. You can't mope around if the inevitable does happen here, and I think being negative and stuff like that is obviously, you've got to look honest at yourself and be honest in your appraisal of your performance after the game, but you can't get too down in life in general, otherwise you won't get back to where you want to be. So it's important that the lads, even if this is a loss, that we come back, we bounce back, we know what we need to do, we need to get better at, and got full faith in our characters, and hopefully we can do that.
Single apiece from Cox, who's on to 1, and Parnell 16. The last 2 balls of Bess is over, so 154 for 3 at the end of the 15th over. Yorkshire, for comparison purposes, were 129 for 2 at the same stage, but we're of course about to embark on a fairly stuttering end to the innings as well, barring the last over. So all the aces in favour of the home side. Nice to know that you didn't have the same history teacher as me at school, by the way, because my history teacher would have said to you in response to the word when the inevitable happens, nothing is inevitable, Doige, until it happens.
That's the outlook. That's the outlook we need right now. David Willey coming into the attack for the Yorkshire Vikings. I wondered whether or not he'd come in maybe 2 overs ago, damage limitation somewhat, using his skill set. Matt, I mean,
yeah,
Yorkshire going for broke now.
Yeah, so David Willey in to the left-handed Wayne Parnell. That's a tremendous blow through extra cover from Parnell first up. David Willey maybe just a little bit too full, wasn't he? And Manu's got himself in, played himself in quite nicely. Wayne Parnell not going to miss out there.
He's going for the stumps now. He has to try and get wickets. Best way of doing that is bowling at the stumps. Brings every form of dismissal into play, and you're going to get shots like that if you do try and hit the stumps. I think it's important here that we stick our chests out, put our shot, and stand up here and try and make this 20 runs hard to get. Take a little bit of momentum into the next game, and it's important we don't mope around and we have a good body language to finish off the game.
Birmingham, of course, up next here on Sunday, a 2:30 start, but Willey in here to Parnell. It's short. Parnell gloved it down into the leg side, picks up a single. He's on to 21, 159 for 3, so 19 from 28 is the equation. Elsewhere, by the way, Surrey playing Somerset this evening. Surrey made 203 for 4. Somerset 176 for 2 with one ball left in the 16th over. What else have we got for you? We'll go through one or two more in a minute. They're just moving the field out, so we'll give you another score here. Essex 206 for 3, Gloucester 125 for 4 are struggling to get those with just over 5 overs remaining. In our North group, Durham 139 all out, Lancs 134 for 5 as Willey is in. Big appeal here on Ben Cox, but that's into the leg side and will be a leg by, but not out. 159 for 3. So Lancs needing just the 6 for victory with 10 balls remaining and still 5 wickets in the tent. You've got to back the table topping Lancs Lightning to win that one. Nottinghamshire 184 for 4. The Birmingham Bears, they're struggling, so they're going to be coming here on the back of a loss by the looks of things. They're 107 for 7 with 4 overs remaining. Sussex, Kent 154 for 8, Sussex 71 for 1 after 8.5. Northants 180 for 5, Derbyshire 60 without loss just at the end of the power play, so they've given themselves half a chance there as Willey is in, full on leg stump. Parnell turns it out into the onside for a single. And then Hampshire are playing Glamorgan. Hants 128 for 7, Glamorgan 42 for 3 after 7. Probably fancy them to knock those off, but they have lost 3 already. So that's what's going on elsewhere. It looks like Lancs are going to retain their place at the top. Worcester, champions, are going to be keeping the pressure on them after what looks like inevitably being a win here.
Yeah, Yorkshire have come up against some quality opposition in the last 2 games in the form of Lancashire and Worcestershire Rapids, and quite rightly are the defending T20 champions as Cox manoeuvres the ball down to fine leg with a lovely ramp shot that just beats the left hand of Johnny Tattersall and moves them on in their run chase. It's a shame really, and credit to the Headingley faithful who've stuck in their numbers. Only a few bodies leaving to get home early to see the end of this game and see the conclusion of what inevitably is, as you say, Doidgy, a victory for Worcestershire Rapids as they accelerate onto 165 for 3.
They might be leaving to go watch the Rhinos, who were 28-0 up apparently against Huddersfield in that relegation clash.
Yeah, that's score in that game.
Here's David Willey round the wicket meanwhile from the pavilion end at Headingley. He's got it wrong down the leg side, going full and leg stumpish and just dragged it a little bit. So he's going to concede another run. And wide ball signalled on the big screen. So yeah, 1 or 2 supporters now beginning to drift out. But I'm sure plenty of those will be back on Sunday. And the way of things with Yorkshire so far this season in, well, all forms of cricket really, has been that roller coaster. It's up and it's down. So as Willey comes in and is flicked away down to fine leg for a single by Cox, taking him on to 6 and the score to 167 for 3 with 4 overs remaining. The feeling I get is that they'll come back hard, they'll come back strong on Sunday against Birmingham, and by now you've got to say if they want to get to the quarterfinals they need those 2 points.
I think as fans want to hit, I think it's important, like we always say, like you've got to come back stronger and stuff like that. It's about proving it when you get out there, and that's the biggest thing that you have to do in sport. You have to get back, and it's all right saying all these great things, or like we work hard, we do that. We need to make sure that we are putting in them performances which win you games. You can't just say the nice things in interviews and stuff like that. It's about really nailing your skill, being truly honest with yourself, looking yourself in the mirror, and trying to get out there and really put a performance in where you do answer the critics.
As that first ball is pulled backward a square for a comfortable single for Cox, 168.43. If you'd looked at yourself in the mirror this evening, you'd realise that you needed a shave. Matthew Fisher. Oh, well, you've got plenty of growth there then. What's going on?
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, thank you. No one's ever said that.
I appreciate I love the context of the game, and it's a fair point though, Matt. You know, we're up in the gantry here, we're watching on. I can feel the disappointment from your body language as this run chase has continued.
Yeah, it's been harder to speak in this second innings. I'll let Jonathan speak a lot more, but yeah, it's just it hurts you because you go through all the winter practice and you go through hard yards with each and every one of the lads out there on the field and the lads that aren't even in the squad, and you work your nuts off and you try and win stuff in the season, and it is disappointing when you see losses and defeats like this. We've been so sloppy in the field that it is disappointing, and we just need to look at it again and work our nuts off even more. So
that's a technical term, by the way, to our listeners. You did. 172 for 3. Matthew, of course, is a regular with nuts and bolts and washers and that sort of thing, and that's what he's working off when he's in the nets. 172 for 3. That was a boundary, I should say, from the bat of Wayne Parnell down to third man. Steve Patterson tried to reel it in, but failed to do so. Olivier in again. It's short and pulled through short mid-wicket, where another hand goes on it, but they get through for one more to Parnell. 2017, 173 for 3. They need 5 off 20.
Is it a tougher loss because of the context of the defeat, given the fact that they only need 5 runs from 20 deliveries? You mentioned the fielding as a point there. Another bit of sloppy fielding from captain Steve Patterson out in the deep. Tom Kohler-Cadmore just parrying it to one side in that last delivery as well. It's the nature of the defeat, isn't it, as well? And you feel that in the stadium right now.
Yeah, it's obviously. I think it's kind of a little bit embarrassing when you lose by this margin. It's tough to take when. I think the emotion. It's tough to take the emotion when it's a tight game. But after the game, you kind of reflect, and little things would have won you the game. But in this, I think it's much more standout what's lost us the game. Been sloppy with the ball. We didn't capitalise on that start with the bat. So again, yeah, keep saying it, but we need to wicket here.
Yep, he's gone as Parnell. He's been caught out there at mid-on by. He said, "I'll check this time before we call it." Harry Brook, I think, is the man. Harry Brook, indeed, is the man who's taken the catch. And Parnell has gone. Caught Brook bowled Olivier for 27 off 18 deliveries, a strike rate of 150. He's done exactly what he was asked to go out there and do. 3 4s and a 6, and he's just about seen his team home. It's academic now, isn't it? But Yorkshire are going to finish this match tonight having played 6 matches with 1 win. Yes, 2 have been rained off, but it'll be 3 defeats. They'll be anchored on 4 points. It looks as though Notts are going to win their game. They started tonight a point above, so they're going to be clearing away to 3 points above. We'll check on what's going on with the Bears. I think they were playing in that game, wasn't it? Notts against Warwickshire. So they're going to be still around there on 5 points, but already starting to get a top 4 developing. And I know there's still a few games to go yet, and Yorkshire can still affect the outcome of things themselves, but it just feels like it's much more vital to get 2 points now against the Bears on Sunday, as Willie is in. And the big appeal for LBW. It can't have been too far away, that, on Ben Cox. Not out, says Nick Cook. 174, 175 for 4 because they got a leg by.
I think usually you look at about 16 points to try and get through, 14, 16 points.
Yeah,
and,
I think I was going to say, I think that was given us a run, which would suggest then there was a thick inside edge off the pad that we would say that it's not given. Sorry to interrupt there, Fish.
No, we could probably need 5 to 6 wins in the next 8 games from now, which does make it a bit more difficult. But again, it's what we have in front of us, what we have to face, and we need to make sure we deliver.
Just looking at the context of that top 4 as Dave Willey comes into bowl.
And it's a good delivery from Willey, who has taken another wicket. This time it is that of Ross Whiteley. Just clipped the outside of off stump and bowled him with a Yorker. So good response to the end from a Yorkshire point of view, but there's still just the 3 runs needed. They're 175 for 5.
I think the body language of Dave Willey there after what was a fantastic wicket from his point of view, a full, arguably reverse swing delivery onto the off stump, right up in the block hole to deceive Ross Whiteley, who falls for naught. But the body language of Dave Willey there, no celebration, walking back to his mark, not interested in the wicket, is a reflection of the mood of this Yorkshire Vikings 11. 175 for 5 now, the Worcestershire Rapids, needing only 3 runs from 16 balls. The writing is on the wall for Yorkshire Vikings. But looking at the context of that top 4, if we go back to the T20 Blast Northern Group table, Warwickshire, of course, are going to get that victory, as you say, Dorji, today. And sorry, Worcestershire playing today. My pardon. But there is a top 4 there alluding. But you wouldn't back Durham, from looking at how they've performed this season, to continue there.
As this next delivery from David Willey has been smashed away through mid-wicket, and that will be the end of proceedings here at Headingley, because Yorkshire, well, let's be honest about it, they have been thrashed this evening by the Worcestershire Rapids. No 2 ways about it in the end, Matthew Fisher. We put on the board a score of 177 for 7 that we thought was probably around about par, certainly competitive. You still know you had to go out there and bowl well, and that's really it, isn't it? They haven't bowled well enough.
Yeah, and we haven't performed our skill well enough with the bat in the second 10 overs and on the ball throughout, really. Again, like you say, with Dave's body language there, like, he just hates losing. Like, obviously everyone hates losing, but I think it hurts him even more. He's an international cricketer. He's had a tough summer, and he wants to win game for Yorkshire, and I love seeing the heart and soul he brings to the team, and hopefully he can carry the lads with him in the next 8 games.
Well, he leads the Yorkshire Vikings off the field of players. The Worcestershire Rapids await the proverbial handshakes after the result, but I suppose the nature of the defeat is what's the most frustrating part of that. And we spoke, didn't we, about that great platform that Yorkshire had set for themselves, with Tom Kohler-Cadmore picking up 40, Adam Lyth 68 for his troubles as well, and it got Yorkshire off to a flyer, and you thought we were talking about 200 at the halfway point to get the Vikings to give them a total coming into what would be a defence against the defending T20 champions, let's not forget. But would you say, Matt, it's that, as you say, the final 10 overs in that first innings, and potentially the not executing the skills when really needed, both with the ball and in the field?
No, yeah, spot on. What do you reckon? I've said enough, I think.
He's disappointed as a lad, and he can tell he's disappointed for his teammates, and we're all disappointed from a Yorkshire point of view, because that means that they are going to be no better off than they were before tonight, which was in 6th place with 4 points from now 6 matches. Lancashire have 1, so they'll be on to 10, and along with Worcester, tonight's winners, who